Da-da-da. What is up, gamers? Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Absolute Peak Cinema. Today, what we're going to be doing is we are going to be ranking every single input known to man, also known as every single click in Deimos by itsHybrid. My current heart is demon. It's going to take absolutely forever, but it's going to be so awesome. What we have here is the tier list of all tier lists to ever tier list. We have 4 of them over here with every single individual input. There are certain holds in this level, such as this click right here. You can very easily tell what I'm showing here. But there is no... There are certain holds in this level, which is going to be a little bit funny to talk about. But hey, it's going to be a good time. It's going to be fun. We're going to be breezing through a lot of these because a lot of them I will just simply not have a lot to say about. So it's just going to be... oh, I added an extra one on accident. Delete row. There we go. But this is going to be a fun time, and I think it's going to be great. Are we going to explode doing this? Probably. I'm not gonna lie, there's a lot of clicks to be talked about. This is a 3-minute long level, so there's about a gazillion, but it's gonna be fun. So without further ado, chat, do we begin? Can we vote on stuff if you're indecisive? No, because I'm not gonna be indecisive, because it's my tier list and I'm the one who played the level for 7 months. Move my camera. I should. Oh, that's the wrong thing to move. Let's move the camera up in the corner here just so you guys can see everything. There we go. Are we ready? Are we ready? First input. The first click of the level. It's kind of just a nothing burger. I can't lie. You just kind of like click and hold this. Occasionally you'll click if you're just kind of like, oh, I clicked a little bit early. You don't die to this click ever. I think it's like a solid B tier though. It's a good introduction. This click, however, I'm gonna say I don't like because this click is like weird. I don't like it. It's odd. You have this like protruding spike out there. Boo. Very boo. The blue orb, it's fine. It's whatever. The pink orb. The pink orb I kind of like because it's one of those clicks where it's like, you click it, and if you click it late enough, you can just kind of like hold over this double spike, and this double spike stinks ass. So you want to. You click this pink orb, and it's like, you do like 4 clicks in a row. I will give this A tier. This is a good click. Because it's like 4 clicks in one, and 4 clicks in one, that's good, right? That's cool. Then we get to this funky blue orb. You kind of fall down from this platform, and hit this blue orb. This blue orb is very nice, very satisfying. I like it. I'm going to put it here. Good B tier input. How many clicks are there in this? A lot. This click, again, it's kind of similar to this blue orb where it's just like kind of nothing. You just kind of like hit the blue pad and then you just click and it's okay, it's fine, it's over. So 39, think of the 12 months. Then we have this blue orb. Dude, there are so many blue orbs in this level. So I want you to count how many times to say, okay, so this blue orb, because there's going to be a lot of them. Anyway, this blue orb.
Happy half year there.
I don't even know how I feel about it. I can't lie. What do you guys think? Because, like, this blue orb is one of those things where it's just, like, you autopilot it, right? Like, you play Pox part so much that you just kind of, like, autopilot. And this click is just, like, you got to hit it late, but not too late. It's not too bad. I like it. I think it's a satisfying ending to an already good part. I'm going to give it an A tier. I know it's the first part of the level, so it's kind of one of those... You can't be that satisfying because you do it like 10 billion times. But it's a good ass click. Because you hit it late. You go through the portal and you're like, yes. I passed the first 2% of the level. Hell yeah. This pink orb as well, I think is in the same vein where it's just like, you got to hit it so perfectly. I kind of like it, but I don't think it's as good. So I'm going to put it B tier. Now we get to the yellow orb of doom. And now we're finally into the second part of the level. Vesp. Vesps part, oh my god, there's gonna be so many low rankings. This part is so unbelievably hard, and there's so many just like, ugh, you know? But not the good kind of, but the bad kind of, you know? Does that make sense? I feel like that makes sense, right? This yellow orb fucking sucks. This yellow orb is so ass. I really do not like it. Because it's just like, you can hit it too late, you can hit it too early. There's never really a perfect time to hit it. And you just kind of like, you know? This click is really hard. There's a spike on the side here that you cannot really see because it's invisible. But this click is like stupendously hard. I'm going to put that here. It's not as this yellow orb, but it's still kind of just like, you know? Not particularly a fan of that click either. The best part in general is really hard. The next two, these two like portal clicks are really cool though. I really like them. They're cool clicks. I'll give them B tier. They're satisfying. They're very nice. I like them. Then we have, again, oh, I don't know if you can tell. Oh, what the fuck? What happened? Wait. What did I do? I actually don't know what's happening. Help. How do I change this? Oh, there we go. What the fuck? That was weird. Anyway, I was gonna show you this is the only part you can jump on, by the way. This jump is absolutely stupid because, again, similar to the other one, there's a teeny tiny spike here, so you have to jump this like stupidly late. Anyway, this is another click that I'm just not particularly a fan of because it's so much harder than it needs to be. This jump I like. I like this jump. This jump is cool. It's just very fun, fair, nice little click. I'm gonna give it a high C tier. It's not as good as the portal clicks, but it's pretty solid still. And then we have the yellow orb, the Yorb of doom and despair. No, I 100% agree with Tyson. Like every single cube input in this the gray part and best part is just genuinely the hardest thing ever made. But anyway, this yellow orb in the portal is similarly to the other portal clicks really good. However, I will give this one an A tier because I think this was very satisfying. It's just like, you just kind of like BAM and just yes, satisfaction, you know? It's very nice. Why is there an E tier? Why not? Then again, another one of those absurdly stupid dumbass corner jumps that's like the hardest thing ever because for some reason you have to jump like outside of the block because they put spikes on the side of the thing, so you can't like jump out of it like a normal human being or a normal cube. So you have to do like this stupidly insanely late timing that's just absolutely goofball. This one I died to a lot as well. Not particularly a fan. It's very similar to this one where it's just like, you know. Then we get to the wave. Anyone who watched my grind of Deimos knows how I feel about this wave. Ugh! I don't like this wave. This wave is too hard. This wave should have been at like 80%. It's too difficult. There were moments in time where I would just like not pass this wave ever because it's like the hardest thing ever made. This first click, stink ass. I'm gonna put E tier. This click right here is not as bad. Or this spam. No, it's a spam. Sorry, I forgot that the release. This spam, absolute dog ball. I'm giving the whole spam just an F tier. This spam, if I was starting to get like slightly tired, I would never pass this wave part. It's the hardest thing ever fucking made. And it's all because of the fact that I can't spam for shit. And I'm poop ass at clicking fast. The mini wave, the first mini wave as well, I would also give an F tier. I don't really like it, but the second click is kind of satisfying. And then the third click is very satisfying because like, oh my goodness, I actually passed Vesp. Spoiler, I didn't actually pass it. There's still a small shit part afterwards, but I would usually not die to it. But this last wave click was just like, yes, I finally got through to 7%. I'm gaming now. you know? Then we get to the stray fly. The stray fly is like 3 clicks, and the first one, the first 2 clicks kind of inconspicuous. They're just kind of there. You're chilling, vibing, having a good time. Not really particularly anything crazy, but you're just kind of like, stray fly, cool, I'm going away. Then we get to the final click, and you die to this like 1 in 250 times. You never die to this click at all. However, dying to this stray fly is genuinely top 5 most frustrating things of all time, because like, I have to sit through the Vesp wave again, and I didn't even pass Vesp. I got past the wave, but I didn't pass Vesp. What the fuck? Dog shit input to die to. But it's one of those clicks where it's like, it only sucks if you actually die to it. If you don't die to it, it's like, yeah. But then you don't, then you die to it, and it's like, boo. You know what I mean? You get it? It pretty much is, Marcus, yeah. Anyway, now we're over to Isane's part, and Isane's part is really good. I think Isane's part is one of the best parts in the level. So there's going to be a lot of high rankings here. This first jump, kind of just like a nothing burger, I'm not going to lie. This first click is just kind of like, okay, lock in. But even though it's kind of a nothing burger, it's still like a high C tier. It's a good-ass click. This blue orb as well, right afterwards, also kind of fantastic, not going to lie. Kind of fire. Because it's really hard. As you can see here, there's like a small spike here and a big spike here, so it's just kind of like a tough click. But it's good. It's good. I want to give it a B tier. I'm probably not going to like order them in the tiers, by the way. I'm just realizing that's probably a stupid idea. That's going to take forever. And then we get to this blue orb. This blue orb, I don't know if you guys have ever like done a click that just kind of like feels like a climax. But the climax is at like 8% in the level. This blue orb is so unreal satisfying to hit, because you have to land in between this like super teeny tiny half block space, and it's just like BAM! Nailed it, and it's awesome. I really like this click. I think this is like one of my favorite clicks in just the first like 25% of the level. Super good. Super good. Not quite an S tier. There's gonna be an S tier, a couple S tiers a little bit later. I'm gonna be very sparing with the S tiers, but it's a very solid A tier, I think. I like it a lot. What do I mean by climax? If you know, you know. Anyway, this pink orb, also really good. Man, Isane's part is just banger. Isane's part is just an absolute banger. I think this is also like a solid B tier. Because that pink orb is like, you have to like thread the needle underneath the spike, and it's just, mwah, nice. Very, very cool. Very nice. Very smooth, you know? And then comes the only click of Isane that I particularly don't like. And it's this jump out here. And it's only because of the fact that this spike, for some reason, is like the largest spike of all time. It looks like a regular spike. It is a regular spike. However, imagine your mom. That's the size of the spike, right? So I'm not really a huge fan of it. I'm going to put it D tier because I kept dying to it a lot, and I didn't really particularly like that. You know? This blue orb in Isane is very nice. I like it. It is a good click. It's a good safe haven after the monstrosity of this mom spike. But this click right here, you kind of like fall out of the block here, and you just go bang on in the middle, and it's just nice. Very good. I'll put that in another B tier, and we're B tiering this so much, dude. But then we have this jump right here. After this blue orb, you kind of like wait a fraction of a second, and then you jump from this corner to jump above this spike and land on the other side of this block. This is a hard-ass click. Anyone who's played Deimos for any period of time, you will know this click is weirdly difficult. It looks like a very unambiguous jump, but man, this click is hard. Very hard. But I wouldn't say bad. I kind of just like, when you're consistent at it, it's very satisfying. But when you're not consistent at it, it's just like, okay, you know? It is an impossible click. It's super duper difficult. Then we have this click right here. This first blue orb, not too bad. You just kind of like jump from this platform, and then you fall down, and you just bam, like real quick. This first blue orb, kind of like a nothing burger. It doesn't really do anything. The second one, ugh. Sorry, that was dramatic. That was very, very dramatic. This second one, you guys know me and my speed. Sonic the Hedgehog fears me. I am that fast with CPS. I kept going too slow on this. This click is ballsack. I kept going too late on it and hitting this tiny ass spike, and it was the most annoying shit ever. E tier. Boo! Not a fan. Did not like that one at all, actually. Once you jump, you hit this blue orb, you jump from it, and then you hit this blue orb. This blue orb, again, is another one of the classic ISA blue orbs, where it's just like the hardest timing ever made. It's really tough. I don't know what it is about this blue orb in particular that's just like stupidly difficult. It's probably just the fact that it's a really late timing. But this blue orb is finicky, because the way you do this blue orb is the later you hit it, the harder the next click becomes. So you want to hit it super early, but there's a spike on the block, so you can't hit it too early, because if you hit it too early, you're gonna hit the spike and you're gonna die. So it's like a balancing act of, do you want to hit it too late or do you want to hit it too early, and just kind of like make the next input harder or worse. Again, just another click I don't particularly like, because some days I would just be allergic to hitting this correctly, and I would absolutely shit the bed and just struggle with it a ton. Not a big fan. F tier. And then the pink orb afterwards, as I said, is one of those it's one of those setup clicks that, because of the click before it, it just kind of like depends on how you were going to do this pink orb. And this pink orb is very reliant on everything, because the next click could either be a hold or it could be a timing. It kind of depends on this pink orb. This like entire end sequence before we get into Max's part is just all setup, and it's all reliant on this shit ass blue orb. But this pink orb isn't much better either. I'm just gonna give it a D tier, because I think it's just one of those. Because of how much it relies on the click before it, it could be great, it could be terrible. It's pretty much all it is. This click, very satisfying. I do like it, but it's also kind of like nothing burger. If you didn't notice, I don't particularly enjoy the end sequence of Isen, but this jump it's kind of just whatever. And then this timing right here, it's just the same timing from before, but easier. But this timing is nice. I like this timing. It's just one of those, yeah, we're into peak now, because Max FS, again, is just an absolute peak part. So I'm going to put this in B tier. Yeah, the beginning of Isen is great. To be fair, I don't think the last like 3 clicks of Isen are bad. I just think they suck because of the blue orb. Right? The blue orb, stinky poo-poo ass shit. And then the next 3 clicks are a result of that click being stinky poo-poo ass shit, right? Whereas, like, it's a good click, or it's a bad click in the context of the click before it, if that makes sense. Right? Max FS, the greatest of all clicks, or all parts ever. Max FS, I think, might be, like, a top 3 parts in the level for me. I think the top 3 parts of the level for me are, like, Lieb, Max, and we'll figure it out as we go. Anyway, the first ship click of Max is absolute cinema. This click is genuine S tier. You do like the double tap where you just hold into the ship, and you just have this like super awesome swoop where you go into like this super straight or tight straight flight corridor, and it's just like, yes, I love when you do that. That's awesome. You know? This part is banger, and this is going to be my first S tier click. I really like this ship entry. I think this ship entry is super good. And then we get to the recorrectional click, because you hold into it, you go whip, and then you go bam, and you go over, and it's just another really solid click. I think this one is not as awesome sauce, but it is really good. But then you get to this one where you kind of like bump over, because you go in between these saw blades, which is really hard by the way. This saw thing is really tight. But this is just another one. This stray fly, just the sequence of the stray fly is just really, really nice, really solid. But then we get to... Can I say with my whole heart that this is the best blue orb in the level? Is it the best blue orb in the first 25% at least? Maybe. I think it is. I think this is the best blue orb in the first 25% of the level. This blue orb is unbelievable. Max, you're onto something, bro. This is also another S tier. This blue orb is so good. You just get this like bam, 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 and the last bam is just yes. It's fire, dude. This click is so good. If you've never played Max FS's part, put a start position at the end of Ison and do this like first ship sequence. You're gonna love this blue orb. This blue orb is awesome. It's a banger, absolute banger. Then we get into this jump. This jump is kind of nothing. You hit the blue orb and then you just kind of like jump immediately and it's just kind of like, oh, nice, cool. You know? I'm going to give this a solid C tier though. It's nothing terrible. It's nothing bad. It's just kind of like, it's sandwiched between two absolute banger inputs, right? The click before and the click after it, top tier, awesome sauce. So I'm just going to kind of just like slot it in between because I just think it's kind of okay at best. But then we get into this blue orb. Max cooked with his blue orbs. Because this click as well is awesome. You kind of just like hit this pad and then you fall down as the ship. And then you have to hit the blue orb as the ship kind of late. So you get this like swoop. Another swoop. There's something about the swoops. Creators, take note. Ships with swoops are banger. Ignore the fact that I'm going to absolutely shit on 70%. Anyway, this click as well, just really solid. I really like it. You kind of go up into the stray fly and then you just bam, and then you fall down and bam, you know. Mint. Absolute mint. I'm going to give this top of A, I think, because this is just another really good click, right? It's just really solid. Really much a fan of it. Then we're gonna do the two stray fly clicks here at the same time. These are just kind of okay. They're solid stray fly clicks. They're as good as stray flies can really get, honestly. Where you're just kind of like, because of the swoop, you have to do like two really tiny correctional clicks before you fall down again to another swoop. But they're good. I'm gonna give these B tier. They're kind of similar to the start of the level where the two correctional clicks, they're just kind of like part of a good sequence, right? Just part of a really solid sequence. I'm an enjoyer. I think they're good clicks. They're very solid clicks. Big fan. Not big fan, but fan. This is Max's first flop, I think. No. Actually, no, that's a lie. I don't think so. I think the next click is the first flop. This swoop is okay. It's just one of those, it's kind of like Tartarus coded, where you can kind of like choose whether or not you want to do like one swoop where you don't click in between because, well, it's easy to hit the black orbs, or you can click in between the black orbs. And setting that up is kind of dependent on this click. And this click is kind of butt clenchy, but in like an okay way, I think. Where it's like, it's solid, it's decent, but for the most part, it's just one of those hope and pray that it doesn't do something stupid. I died to this click a lot, and that was just because of the fact that it's one of those things that's kind of day dependent for me. To me, it was just one of those clicks that some days I would just be bad at, and that was unfun. I'm gonna put it in a C tier. Then we get to butt clench central. Click in between the black orbs. Good luck. It's not as hard as I'm making it sound. It is definitely a difficult input, but for the most part, it's just one of those you kind of fuck yourself over with the swoop before it if you go a little bit too high. That's what makes this click so cheeks to me, is that if you swoop a little bit too much and you go high, when you do the recorrectional click, you'll just die to the spikes here. And I just didn't like that, right? I thought that was very unsatisfying. But that's just kind of like the choice that I made of doing the recorrectional click to begin with. When I started playing the level, I actually didn't do it. I just kind of like went through Tartarus style, where I just kind of like did the swoop and jumped over this and didn't do this click. And that was just really fucking hard. And when I got to the point where I started doing the recorrectional click, I just never got it fully in my fingers. And I think that was my downfall. But I'm going to give it a D tier because it just wasn't ever very much a click that I liked. It was just a necessary evil to not die to the swoop more than I did already, right? This click right here, when you fall into the cube and you go up, sometimes it would just be hard. Sometimes it would just kind of hit it late and I would die to the side, or sometimes I hit it early and hit the spike. But it was just one of those clicks where you die there like 1 in a million, right? You would just like occasionally die there and it's just breh. But it's nothing too bad. I think it's like a solid, similar to this swoop and this click. It's just kind of like a nothing burger that you would just kind of occasionally die to, and it would just be like breh. But you never really thought much about it, right? It's kind of like a thoughtless input. Hi, Hybrid. What's up? We're going to have a quick little intermission once I get past Max's part. Then we get to the UFO. The first UFO click, similar to the other clicks, is just kind of like nothing. You just don't think much about it. But then you get to this green orb. Ooh, this green orb is good. Ooh, this green orb is good. Max is kind of like the goat of just really satisfying orb clicks, I think. What on earth was I on with this idea? Peak. Guess what? This green orb is absolutely fucking cinema. I really like it. I'm gonna put that A tier. That's just a really, really good click. It feels fantastic. This blue orb is not as good, but still really good. It's still a very satisfying input. Where it's just like, you hit it and you're like, yeah, that felt awesome sauce. And then you just kind of move on. But I'll give it a good B tier, I think. Yeah. And then, I say, take notes. This is how you do a setup input into like the final 3 clicks, and it's just like peak, right? This blue orb into the sequence of orbs is just like, you have to hit this stupid, dumb late. But when you do, chef's kiss, bro. Chef's kiss. But the click itself, the first click, is not particularly amazing. The clicks following it are baller. I'm going to put this one in B. And then this entire sequence, I can't lie. Just this sequence of 4 clicks where you go bam, 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 bam. If I could eat it, I would. That shit looks delicious. I'm just A-tiering this entire sequence, I can't lie. Because it's just really good. Very, very good. Anyway, we're going to do a quick little intermission. Hello, everyone! How are you guys doing? I just needed to have a little bit of content to roll in because this is just going to stay up as a live stream. So the YouTubers don't leave immediately. How's everyone doing today? How is everyone doing today? Hi, Hybrid. Sebas. Hello, hi, Flame Shooter. Hi, Singularity. Kokichi. What's up? Hi, Galaxy. Hi, Camelot. Hi, Mim. Hi, Conway. Nick Touloucent. Hello. Hi, Lowplace. Hi, Star Shooter. Hi, Amatsu. Hi, Spartan. How are you guys feeling today? Hope everyone's ready for the greatest tier list of all time. I'm very ready for it. Again, shoutouts to Dragon, TDH, for taking the time out of his day to screenshot every single input in the entire level for me. Very, very kind of you. I appreciate it because I would never have done it myself. Quite sleepy. I feel it. I slept like a fucking rock today, bro. I slept so long. It was really nice though. Hi, Montichillo. How are you doing? Hi, Hyoko. Ready for 4 of them? Hell yeah. I feel like I'm going to have a lot more to say once we get into the second half of the level, because that's where I have like a lot more deep thoughts on the parts, right? With the first 25%, I just kind of like, I got so consistent at it that I just kind of like don't have a lot of super deep thoughts unless it's I say in the beginning or Max FS's part. But this is awesome. I'm looking forward to it. We're almost done with the first tier list already. That's fast. Holy. It's only been 30 minutes. Maybe this is like the easiest thing of all time. Hi, Georgie. Hi, Cola back. What's up? This is the kind of content we really need, isn't it? Are there any, do you guys agree so far? I mean, you guys haven't played the level as extensively as I have, so maybe you just don't know what the hell I'm talking about. But, do we agree? What am I looking at? The tier list. Hi, Felistic. How's it going? No problem, Camelot. Every click is S tier and you're a hater. Okay, I see, Luna. I see that you're actually a hybrid alt account. I see how it is. Hi, Darky. You played one practice run, so you do agree, though. Are we in agreement? We are coming up on some really banger clicks, though. So I think I'm just kind of looking through. We're coming up on some bangers, I think. I knew you would, Hybrid. Hi, Metzo. How's it going? Am I missing the $12 MP? Maybe. I'll check it. I probably am, I think. Bam. I was. Hi, Pandox. Ranking every click of the triple trial when. True, I should do that. Anyway, let's hop into Iris. Iris's part is stupendously difficult. I think Iris's part is like top 3, maybe 4 hardest parts in the entire level. This part is really, really difficult, but it has some absolute banger inputs. So, first off, we start with the straight fly. The straight fly is kind of just like, you just kind of get thrown into it after you pass max. It's okay. I think this straight fly is just fine. It's not particularly incredible, but it's also not particularly awful. So I think I'm just going to slot both of those into C tier. Iris is off to a middling start, to put it that way. But then we get into this yellow orb combo. This yellow orb into dash orb into yellow orb. And man, this is some straight fucking fire. I can't lie. This combo right here. Oof. Dragon has only put 1 click here. This is 2 clicks. You go 1, 2, like fast with the spacebar. But anyway, this first yellow orb, I really like. It's very, very satisfying. It's a great click. I will go into A tier with it. And then we have the dash orb. The dash orb, I think, is probably, surprisingly enough, I think the dash orb is probably the least satisfying of the 3. Whereas, like, you hit the yellow orb, and you just, like, bam, nail that shit, and then it's dash orb time, and the dash orb is just kind of, it's kind of there. But it's still very good. I think it's a solid B tier. But then we get into the spacebar. The first spacebar of 2 spacebar clicks of this level. Easy S tier. Oh my goodness, this spacebar click is just so nice. You don't even have to spacebar it. I'm like the only person to spacebar it. I think Zeronium did as well. Because I was like, I told Zeronium that if you only do 1 click here, occasionally you will die to the backside of the spike, and that's kind of cringe. And doing 2 fast clicks is also just like, why? Because you don't really have to space out the clicks like at all. So why not just like do 1, 2 with the spacebar? And that spacebar click is like actual cum worthy. Holy moly, that spacebar click is so nice. There's just something cathartic about hitting a spacebar when you don't have to, just to like make the click more satisfying. And this UFO click is that. That click is so nice. It's so unbelievably good. I really like it. Good UFO click. Very good UFO click. Then we get into this stray fly, and this stray fly kind of blows. You just kind of like fall into it, and you just have to stray fly out of a... You're inside between 2 blocks, and then you have to like do 2 clicks to stray fly, and then you hit an orb. And the stray fly itself, I'm not a fan of. I'm gonna be real. I think the stray fly kind of slightly below average. But you go into 2 fantastic clicks. These 2 orb clicks are insane. This first one, this yellow orb, is stupendously difficult. It is really hard to tell. But this yellow orb click is so hard. You're a big ship going in between this like super tight spike structure and saw blade, and it's like, in the words of the frame perfect crowd that loves frame perfects in Geometry Dash for some reason, this is probably a frame perfect. This click is unreasonably difficult for some reason. I don't really know why. Just one of those clicks that's just like, yep, I am hardest click ever. And then you're just like, yep, you are. Thank you for being hardest click ever. I really appreciate it. But it is incredibly, incredibly nice to pull off. When I started playing the level, it was like the most awesome thing ever. You just kind of like, you hit this orb and you were just like, yes. I use that analogy a lot, I feel like, or example a lot. But that's just how it feels, right? You hit the yellow orb and you're like, yeah, no, I'm awesome at this game. I'm the greatest player of all time. And the same goes for this red orb. You have to hit this red orb like really late because you have to like hold into this to get into straight fly. And if you hit it too early, you're going to hit the spike at the top here, right? But if you hit it too late, you're going to hit the side of the spike. So it's like a perfectly timed click, hold, and it's just mwah, chef's kiss, absolute chef's kiss. But unlike this yellow orb, this one isn't as hard. It's just an unbelievably satisfying click, and we're getting another S tier because I really like this red orb, man. This red orb is great. This red orb is awesome. Iris popped off. It's just a banger click. I really like it. Then we have another straight fly. There's a lot of straight flies in this level, if you guys didn't know. I think the straight fly is okay. You just kind of like, after this like very nice hold, you just kind of like, whoop, bam, and then you hit the orb inside of the portal. It's nothing crazy, but it's just another one of those. This is the third straight fly sequence in a row that we've just given a C tier, I think. But you know, it's just one of those things where it's just like, it precedes one of the greatest clicks of all time, and you just get put into a straight fly that's just kind of like a straight fly, right? Does that make sense? Whereas like, if you go from peak to decent, the decent is just gonna be like kind of underwhelming, right? Then we get into Silly Orb. Silly Orb. You go into this portal and then you click the orb and you just whee. And I don't know how I feel about it because I died to this an unreasonable amount of times because if you click it too early, you're just going to hit the spikes. And if you don't hit it early or if you hit it too late, you're going to die to the weird dinky structure at the top of the screen. I'm going to zoom in so you can see. Oh God, this was a terrible idea. But I don't know if you can tell. Looking at this, if you look at this one, right? I don't know if you can tell, but there's this weird structure here that looks like it would be background noise. But if you hit this orb slightly late, you would just go fucking flying and hit the side of this thing. And it was the dumbest shit ever. Because you can't hit this orb immediately, because then you hit the spikes or you die to the transition. And you just get launched into this thing at the top of the screen. That doesn't make any sense, because how the fuck do you get that much momentum? I don't know, man. You just do. And I'm not a big fan of that kind of like stupid ultra momentum. This click gets a D tier for me. Nah, fuck it. It's gonna E tier. I don't like that click. That click is stupid. Right? But then we get to the first choose your own adventure click. I'm gonna Dora the Explorer this one. So chat, what do you guys think a choose your own adventure click means? Do you know? Sorry, that was awful. I really think this click is super cool, and I don't think it was I don't think it was intentional at all. But you can hit either the pink orb or the blue orb. It doesn't really matter. So this timing is completely ambiguous, and you just have to like hit it in the middle and just. If you hit the blue orb, you hit the blue orb. Cool. If you hit the pink orb, you hit the pink orb. Cool. The only thing you gotta worry about is hitting the blue orb too early or the pink orb too late. You just hit whichever one you want to. I know how it's always like, oh, did you get it? Which river color did you hit? Or did you get for your completion of Deimos? The real question should be, did you hit the pink orb or the blue orb in Iris? That's the real choose way of this level. Because I'm going to be so real, I genuinely think if you go through every single victory of Deimos, it's going to be like a 50-50 split of hitting the pink orb or the blue orb. And I think that's fire. I really like this click. I think this click is great. Half because of the fact that you can choose your own way. Half because of the fact that it's just a satisfying click. But this click is awesome. Then we get to the ball click. How about double clicking? So you hit both. You don't double click if you hit the blue orb first though. Then you just go down and hit the saw blade. Anyway, this ball click is solid. It's decent. It is very hard though. You just kind of like go up, wait until you're on the last block, and then go down, and it just kind of, you just gotta die to it occasionally from clicking too late, and it's kind of just bruh. But it's not a bad click. It's satisfying. It's a hard ball gap. It's like quantum processing gap, but actually kind of difficult and not easy. Even though everyone thinks the quantum processing ball is really hard, even though it's really easy. I'll put it in B tier. I think it's fair B tier. Then we get to the pink orb. What even is there to say about this pink orb, man? I don't think I ever died to it. I'm pretty sure you just kind of like go into the pink orb and then click. And I'm not even 100% certain if you need to click it. If I'm being 100% honest with you, you just kind of like click. If that's not a C tier, I don't know what the hell is. Chat, who's ready for my favorite wave part? I'm so ready for the wave part. Okay. Iris 19% wave. Yes! My favorite thing ever crafted, bro. What do I even feel about this wave, man? I don't know. It's so, one of those things that's just like, it kind of like pushed my limit of CPS in a way where it was just like, some days I would just like barely not ever pass it. And that was just because I couldn't click fast enough. And it was really frustrating. Right? Which is a negative. It is 100% a negative. But these first 3 clicks is just kind of like, they kind of blow. Because you go 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4 in this part. And these first 3 is just kind of like, hope and pray that you don't die to something stupid. And then once you hit the yellow portal, that's where the real shit begins. I just kind of don't like this wave, man. I'm not going to lie. This wave is frustrating. But then we get into the second half of the wave. Right? Whereas like you go 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and then the fourth click is the blue orb. This yellow portal click is better, I think. I like this yellow portal click. Even though it's arguably the most frustrating part of the wave itself, I do think it is a very satisfying click because you just kind of like, you feel like you have, it's like a power trip almost, where it's like, oh, you did this super fast wave spam into a gravity portal into another wave spam that's like arguably harder. Yeah, that's kind of elite, not gonna lie. But then the next 2 clicks, they kind of fall under the same of, I don't particularly like them. Because they're so easy to die to, right? But then, then we get into the blue orb. Because of how this wave is structured, you kind of just like spam into this blue orb, and then you have to hit the blue orb, like slightly timed. You go like 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. But then the fourth click, the blue orb click, has to be like slightly staggered, because if you hit it too early, you're going to hit the side of the wall here, and you're just going to die. But if you hit it too late, you're going to hit the spikes besides the blue pad. So it's like an actual timing. It's an easy timing. It is an easy timing. But the fact that you have to like nail an actual timing and not just like a buffer click out of this unbelievably dumb wave spam. Ballsy move, but it kind of works. I'm going to A tier this one. I think this blue orb is very satisfying, and it puts you out of what I consider beginning purgatory in this level, where the first 20% of the level, aka getting past Iris, is the most dragged out part for me. There's a lot of clicks I really like in the first 20% of the level, but man, there is something unhinged about getting past Iris. Because once you get to 20%, once you get to Pollux, once you get to Pollux's part by hitting this blue orb, that's where you put on your gamer hat, and you're like, okay, time to lock the fuck in. I got here a lot towards the end. Obviously, I was getting here like 50 plus times a day. But to begin with, when I started playing this level, hitting this blue orb was my indication of, oh shit, I actually have to get somewhere now. So this blue orb, really very nice, you know, like Borat would say. Anyway, now we'll get into Pollux. What do I think about Pollux? There's gonna be some contested inputs here. This first jump is kind of just there. I'm not gonna lie. I'm gonna C tier it. There's nothing much to say or do about it. It's just kind of like a part or a click. Then this next one, very similar. It's a little bit better. I do think this one is a little bit more satisfying because you actually have to like think a little bit about this, because if you cannot tell, small spike, big spike, tight jump. It looks very easy because no one ever dies to it. But it's satisfying, right? Vittori, thank you for the 4 months. I really appreciate it. What percent are we into the level? 20. This ball click is a buffer. This ball click is a buffer. There's nothing to it. You can't become more nothing than that. You just kind of like hold until you hit the buffer and then you do the next clicks. So I don't know. I have nothing to say about it. It's a buffer click. But unlike the buffer into these ship swoops, you just kind of hit an orb and then you're done. This ball click right here blows dick cheese. Absolute fucking cock cheese, bro. When I was dying, when I had my days where I was dying to Pollux, this was the one click, one of 2 clicks that I would always die to. Don't like it. This click sucks. It looks really easy, but you have to go. You know those clicks where it's like a spike, a block gap, and a spike, and then you have to go in between them as the ball. Take that, but it's tiny baby bitch spike, half a block gap, tiny baby bitch spike, which has significantly harder hitboxes. That's the click, and it sucks. Awful. Stupid input. Terrible. Then we have this mini ball. The mini ball is fine. Nothing terrible, honestly. It's just one of those clicks where it's like, similar to the mother spike that I talked about earlier in Isane. You have to go so much later than you think, because the hitbox for the smaller spikes are so much bigger, right? So you just have to like fall off the block essentially, and it's just kind of okay. This first one is fine. I think that's a C tier. I don't mind it personally. And then you hit the blue portal, and then you fall into this click. And this click right here, these like 2 clicks, 3 clicks, the end of Pollux in general, I can't lie, is just kind of because this click right here, it looks like you have to go. Like, it gives you so much room to, like, click here. But in reality, they could have removed a whole ass block here and given you a much better visual cue to go up. Because you have to go up super early. And it just kind of, like, doesn't do that. So it's, like, a much harder visual input than it kind of needs to be. There is a very clear visual indicator for it. But at the same time, it's just kind of like, I don't know, man. I don't like it. Not a fan. D tier. Also, so many people is calling unemployed activities. This is my employment. You're wrong. This is my employment, so I'm actually winning here. Anyway. This ball click sucks ass. I really do not like this ball click, because you have to go so stupidly early. But it doesn't look like you can go early, because as I mentioned, I've talked about this multiple times over with the mother spike. But these tiny ass spikes make it so that you can't go super early, because the hitbox is so fucking massive. But you have to go as early as possible, because if you don't, you hit the side of this godforsaken fucking block, and it just kills you, and it's just, ugh! You have to sit through the first 20% again. Stupid! Dumb idiot part. Nah, fuck this click. F tier. Shit fucking input. Kind of the same goes for this one, except not as extreme, because you have to go super early, because if you go too late, you're just gonna hit the side of the spike here. But it's not ass tits, you know? It just kind of isn't. But then you have these two final clicks of poly. And, fuck you. That's all I have to say. That's my criticism of these two clicks. Fuck you. So, you know. That's it. Just fuck you. These two clicks suck. There's like 700 years of waiting until you can do this first click. And then depending on if you do the first click early or late, you have to do this timing like slightly different. If you do this first click like super late, you can just like bam like super quick and buffer the second one. If you don't, you can just die, and it's just the most frustrating shit ever. I died to this click so much more than I care to admit. I hate it. Ass click. Terrible. Awful. Abhorrent. A long time, Willie. Shoutouts to my admin dragon for setting it up. He did it, not me. This Strayfly in Sersha is in the same vein as every other Strayfly, where it's just kind of okay. Yeah, I think I'm going to C-tier this Strayfly. But then we get into this blue orb. And chat, you know what we say about blue orb ship swoops, right? This would have been an Esther if it wasn't for the fact that I kept dying to it. I kept dying to it so much because this orb is so specific. Because if you hit it too low, you're just not going to get enough height and you're going to die to the sublight. If you hit it too low, you're just going to get fucking launched into the top of the spike. So this is like a weirdly specific input. But actually getting it is so nice, bro. It is such a good click when it decides to be your friend. But it doesn't always decide to be your friend. And when it doesn't decide to be your friend, it's just like, ugh, why did I die to that, right? But man, it is still like a really high. I want to call it, I'm going to call it an A tier. I still think it's a fantastic click. I think it's a really, really good input. It's just that because of how oddly specific it is, you just sometimes just die. And that's just kind of like stinky ass shit. And I don't like that, you know? But it's a good click. It's a really good input. Then we have the fun diagonal Strayfly. Oh my god, I love diagonal Strayflies. Regular Strayflies? They're kind of whatever. Diagonal Strayflies. Now that's real shit, dude. That's real shit. I'm gonna give it a B tier. It's good. That is not B tier. That is B tier. There we go. I like this diagonal Strayfly. I'm not gonna lie. I don't, however, enjoy this click. I don't know what it is about this click, but this click is weird. This is like the epitome of you have to hit it very oddly specific because otherwise you're just dead and stupid, dumb, right? It's not terrible, but I'm gonna D-tier it because I don't know. I just found this click really awkward and it just didn't feel great. After that awesome sauce that is the Strayfly into blue orb into diagonal Strayfly, this click is kind of like anticlimactic, if that makes sense. Diagonal is that one thing that makes it not straight. Okay, sorry, gay flight. My bad, bro. Then we get into this funky sequence of clicks. This is 3 clicks right here where you jump from this corner, bonk your head, hit the blue orb late, hold, and then hit the black orb. There is so much going on in this three inputs, but it's really nice. It is very satisfying to pull off. I really like it, but it was one of those things where when I had days where I was like clicking super early or clicking super late, I would just always die to this part because this is one of those parts where think like Kova Reda, think cognition, think muscle memory reliant levels where if your brain is just kind of like 15 milliseconds off tune because you slept bad or something, it just becomes the hardest shit to ever play ever. Right? That's kind of what this sequence of clicks is. You just kind of like get absolutely railed if you do not have your brain perfectly tuned to the muscle memory that you're usually using. Which kind of drags it down a little bit. But I really like it. I think the blue orb is probably the worst one. I'm going to give the first click a solid A tier, and then I'm going to give the blue orb a B tier, and then I'm going to give the black orb a solid A tier as well. I think that's what I want. Hi, spiders. What's up? I haven't 9475. No, I should, though. Schmigels is always a banger. Anyway. Let's hop on to this green orb. Did you guys know that this green orb's a timing? Because if you hit it early, you die to the side of the slope because for some reason there are spikes there. If you hit it late, you die to the saw blade. And if you don't hit it not that late, but kind of late, you die to this spike. This is one of the least timings ever because you just kind of click it and hope because there's no like actual like indication for when you're supposed to click it. You just kind of click it so you click it super early so you don't die to the, but not early enough so you die to the spikes. Did that make sense? Probably not. Electro, thank you for the 16 months. Appreciate it. You get it? You understand? Anyway, this click is kind of nothing burger, I'm not gonna lie. Blue orb. The blorb. The blorb, the blorb, the blorb. This is a good blue orb. I'm almost done already. No, I have 3 more. Not nearly close to done. This is 25% of the level. What do I even think about this blue orb, man? What do I think about this blue orb? I really like it, actually. I think this is going to be another A tier for me. Yeah. That makes sense to me. It's a good A tier. Because you just have this, like, very satisfying swoop from the green orb, and then you just BAM! You know? Very nice. This click right here, it's not actually a click. You just kind of hold into this blue orb. I don't know why Dragon included this one. This is not a click. You hit this blue orb and hold, and you just kind of, like, buffer this click and go up. But, I mean, it's a buffer, so it's kind of just nothing. And then we get into my my kind of favorite, not really favorite section of Bam Bam Bam. Yeah, I know, right, Dragon. Same, honestly. This is a good Bam Bam Bam. When I think about doing this, we planned doing this long before I even beat the level. I think I remember getting 92% on Deimos, and I texted Dragon like, hey, we should probably get going with the tier list now, because I'm going to be done hopefully soon. And then it took another month. But anyway, this Bam 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 is very nice. I really like the blue orb. There's the blue orbs in this level are just fucking elite, man. I don't know what else to say. I'm going to give the 2 ball clicks, I'm going to give B tier. Yeah, and then I'm going to give this blue orb. Honestly, thinking about it, it's one of my favorite clicks in the first 24% of the level. I'm going to give this an S tier. Yeah, this blue orb is just really good. Really good blue orb. But then we get into, this click right here I don't like. Because if you can't tell by the screenshot, you just can't see shit. But if you look at the next screenshot, you see there's a spike and there's a spike. And you have to jump in between the spikes. But you can't actually see the spikes. So not being able to see the spikes when you're supposed to jump in between 2 spikes is kind of hard. And last time I checked, Deimos is not supposed to be a memory level. D tier click. Don't like it. Hey, chat. Anyone remember how I feel about the 26% dip? Shadows Deimos 26. The first 2 E tier, not a fan. They're just very goofy because you kind of like have to fall off this platform, but you don't actually have to like normally when you go off a platform into a straight fly, it's not that bad. The thing that makes this one bad is that you actually have to fall down a little bit, because if you just straight fly from the platform, you're just gonna hit the spike. So you have to like actively fall down like a quarter of a block before you start straight flying, and you have to like recorrect that momentum, and that momentum sucks dick. And then the next click after that is also just like really awkward because you have to go slightly up, because if you can't tell, spike, big spike, big spike, small spike, small spike. The bottom one, small spike, big spike, big spike. So you have to like do a whoop, you know? You have to go down, up, down. And it's just absolutely fucking horrible. And then we get into the bane of my existence, because after you do that like slight return upwards swoop after falling down a little bit and going up, you have to micro adjust yourself, because if you don't do that, you're gonna hit the corner of this block, because this structure is the longest fucking thing ever made. But if you have too much upwards momentum, you gain a little bit of a bump and you hit the side of the wall, and it's just the worst fucking thing ever. This might just genuinely be the single worst input in the entire level, because it just doesn't feel like it's my fault half the time. Like with like 41%, 47%, at least it's a skill issue. This is just bad structuring, and I don't like it. It sucks ass. Because you don't die to the wall being too wall. You die to a fucking bush! Anyway. And we have the two swoops. The two swoops are fine. I find them completely okay. They're just whatever. You just kind of like, you pass the world's most shit-ass input, and then you just 2 recorrectional clicks, and they're just fine. Then we have Skell. Good luck! Yes, Dragon, it is Tearless 1. Who's ready for good luck? The greatest part of in all of Deimos is good luck. It's a singular jump, and it's really easy, because you kind of just like jump over the spike, and you're good to go. But no memes, okay? I'm not gonna meme this one. Obviously, this is like the easiest meme S tier of all time. But there's something very satisfying about this click, because you kind of just like pass Sersha, and 26 to 100 is the classic run you get on Deimos. When you beat Deimos, 26 to 100 is like the run to get, right? 34 to 100, 39 to 100, 44 to 100, all that stuff. Very normal runs, you get them to 100. 26 to 100 is like the run, and it starts at this exact jump. So once you get to this jump, you're just kind of like, lock in. You're going far. This is like, the level has begun. I know I said the exact same when you get past, when you get to this blue orb right here at the end of Iris and into Pollux. But this is the real one. Because when you get to Pollux, you pass the hard thing, but you still have like 2 more parts to pass that are mostly just like easy-ish. You just have to like pass through it. But once you get to Skell's part and you get to this good luck jump, you're like actually just locking in, because now it's just all hard gameplay, nothing easy. The rest of the level is just absurdly difficult. You have to tap into your inner god gamer, right? This jump is the indicator of that. It says good luck for a reason, right? It quite literally just says good luck for a good reason. So I'm putting it S tier. I think this click is really good, very satisfying. That's the first 25% of the level. Tier list 1 done. Can you believe it? Can we believe it, chat? A good amount of F tiers. Pretty much all of them. Pretty much all of them are Vesp's wave. Vesp did not cook with his wave, bro. Vesp did not cook with his wave at all. Now, this is not taking as long as I thought it was. I don't have as much to say about a few of the clicks that I thought it was going to. I play with index finger. I'm an index finger player gamer. No, the wave is terrible. You're making a 12 CPS level. You can't talk about this wave, because the only reason the spam is hard is because it's fast. and stupid and dumb and idiot. I mean, obviously, there's a reference to the Great Phobos wave near the start of the level. It's a fucking sequel. Obviously. Ivy, what's up? How are you doing? Welcome, welcome. But yeah, I think I'm happy with these placements. I think they make sense. I'm gonna promote a click. I'm gonna promote this black orb to S tier. I really like this black orb. This black orb's good. Because like bam, you know, you just shoot down to this platform and you just mwah, chef's kiss. I'm gonna promote this to S tier. That's like the one promotion I'm doing. It's a good click. I like it. Thumbs up. Sersha has 2 S tiers. Me thinks. Cool. Let's hop into new gamer god part. Can I remove this ad, please? Where the fuck is the ad block? Reload. There we go. Talking about. There we go. Do that. Okay, who's ready for the second quarter of level? Hi, Numinous. What's up? This is the ultimate yap session. It really is. This is like everything I'm built for, you know. Hello, Bingus. What's up? Who plays with middle finger? A lot of people do, actually. I've seen a lot of people play with middle finger. I don't personally, but I know a good amount of people do. Okay, so we're on to an incredibly strong start with Platinum, because this strafe fly is insanely awesome. This is the first strafe fly that I would say is above okay. Strafe flies in general, they're just kind of like fine. It's a strafe fly. There's not much to it. This strafe fly is fucking lit. Strafe fly is so good because it's like bam, 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 bam. You know. This full strafe fly is a straight A tier. I really like it. It's really good. This is a banger strafe fly. No notes. Just really good. Really solid. Then we get to this blue orb. This blue orb it looks much harder than it is because there's an invisible slope here. Normally you would have to do like a 5th click in the strafe fly to go a little bit up and then hit this blue orb, but you don't actually have to because there's an invisible slope here that just kind of like slides you up into the blue orb where you need to hit it. But then when you hit it, it's just kind of like, nice, cool. That's a decent click. But I don't know. I think this is one of the weaker clicks of Platinum personally. I think it's just kind of fine. Because it comes right after like the greatest strafe fly ever created, ever crafted. So this strafe fly or this blue orb is just kind of like, it's okay. But then we get into the 3 UFO clicks, and these 3 UFO clicks are very nice, very nice. I like them. I die to them occasionally though. Sometimes I just die to the 3rd click, and I don't know why. No, I die to the 2nd click because I die to the saw blade. Because if you can't tell, you're very, very close to dying, like, all the time. But that's just kind of, like, how hard levels go, I suppose. Hi, Skywalker. What's up, man? But, yeah, this UFO is just good. I don't know. I'm just going to B-tier it. Because, like, it's good. It's above average. I enjoy playing through this part. Like, this UFO is just, like, yeah, it's satisfying. I enjoy it, you know? Then you get into this green orb. What do I think about this green orb? This green orb is nice. You kind of like get flung up from this slope and you hit this green orb like really late. And you just go in between the spikes and it's just nice. You know? You know what I mean? I think I'm gonna B-tier this one as well. I like this click, but it's not like as incredible. This pink orb though, I think is just kind of whatever. It's okay, but it's not amazing. What is very satisfying, though, is this blue orb. If you can't tell by the screenshot, you hit this blue orb stupid late. Just dummy late, bro. This blue orb is really nice. Really satisfying. This is another A tier, I think. And then the click after is a little bit worse, but it's still really good. Because you kind of like, you go like super late on this orb, hit the portal, and then you click it immediately, and it's just like, yeah. Yeah. I like it. I think this is a good orb. Both of these clicks are kind of nothing. You just kind of do it, you know? These are nothing clicks. They are like easy demon difficulty inputs. You just kind of like bam bam and just move on with your life. I'm going to put those C tier because they're harmless, right? They're harmless inputs. Very harmless. Then we get up to wave input of Doom and Despair number 1. This is such an intense click, dude. Holy shit, what an input. Holy shit, what an input. I'm gonna be so for real, bro. I'm just gonna put this S tier. I really like this wave click. This is the hardest wave click of all time. Not really, but visually speaking, it is the hardest wave click of all time. It's really fucking satisfying to pull off. Doing this wave click consistently is like actually peak. And I kind of want to say the same about this click as well, because what you do is you click this absurdly tight timing, which is not as tight as you would think, because you can kind of just like look at the slope and time it by the fact that you're just almost slipping into the slope, and then you just kind of go down. But then you get into this click where you release and click again and hold. And this is like one of those tension holds where you're like, you have to click it, release, and click again in kind of fast succession, and then you just hold the entire way through into the next part. This wave is just fucking good, bro. This wave click is just... yes! You know? I don't know what it is about this wave, man, but this wave, once I got the hang of it, once I started getting decent at this wave, it's peak, bro. It's really peak. Because then you hold into this whole way through. Into this wave where you go down. Because you hold into this wave portal. Hold slightly into the wave portal just because I preferred it. Because then that would make these next clicks a little bit easier. Because if you hold slightly into this wave portal, as you see I do here, where I just like, I hold, go down with the wave, release it, and then go 1-2. It's just that these two clicks would be even. Just a 1-2 instead of a 1-2, right? And this wave is also really nice. Dude, I don't know what it is. Maybe I'm becoming a waveoid. Oh no. I might actually be becoming a waveoid. Fuck. Chad, this is the worst day of my life. I'm becoming a waver. Because this wave is really fucking good. Oh no. Chad, I might retire. I'm glazing a wave. Shit, man. What provoked me to make this tier list? I spent 7 months playing this level. Nothing about this level. I have a lot to say. I just have a lot to say. I don't think this first click is as good. I think this first click is probably a B tier. It's still very satisfying. But then you have this click where you click into this portal, speed up, hold all the way up until this roof, and then you release, and it's just, yes. Easy A tier again. I'm gonna A tier this. This is just a very good click. But then you have this click right here. Ooh, I don't know how I feel about this one. Because you release at the top here, and then between this like very, very tight gap, obviously, you click, hold, and you hold all the way until the very end here where you release. So there's a very long click. Like, this wave is very few inputs. It's like 1, 2, 3, 4. Platinum's just 5 clicks, bro. All of Platinum is just 5 inputs. All of Platinum's wave is just 5 clicks. I just realized that's nothing. But this click is really nice. I think this is probably... Nah, this click is also really solid. Because you just kind of like go through the entire thing and it's just like very cool structuring. I really enjoy the structuring of this part where it's like very open, very wide, but the actual gaps themselves are like stupidly tough. I'm going to give this another A tier. Platinum's wave is just a banger, bro. 2 S tiers, 2 A tiers, and a B tier. Yeah, this wave is peak. This wave is just peak. I like it. Then we have another little tiny straight fly. This straight fly is okay. It's very satisfying. See, the thing about straight flies in this level, right, is that every single straight fly in Deimos is either elevated or dragged down by the part that precedes it, right? The part that comes right before is so crucial to the awesome sauciness of any given straight fly in this level. And this is one of those straight flies where, because of how butt clench and tense Platinum's part is, because there's, as I said, there's very few inputs. There's only 5 clicks in this wave altogether. But because of how intense those 5 clicks are, getting to the straight fly is kind of like a moment of elation almost. Where, because of how difficulty in Deimos is, each and every single part you just kind of lock in further and further and further. Getting to the straight fly is very nice. It is a highly rated straight fly to me, and I really like it. And then you hit this blue orb. And I died to this blue orb a few times. I'm gonna be real. This blue orb, I died to a few times. It's just kind of like one of those clicks where it's just like... the blue orb, the actual blue orb hitbox is very tiny. So, you're kind of like prone to hitting the spike occasionally. But it builds on Platinum's wave where there's very long-winded holes. Where you just kind of like... Very similar to this wave right here that I put in A tier, where it's like a bam, and you just hold like super fucking long. This straight fly is exactly the same, where you just go 1, 2, 3, and the third click is just a whee, you know? Fucking cinema, dude. This blue orb is absolute fucking cinema. Banger input. However, every single person who watched my Deimos streams know these 2 blue orbs at the start of Loltad. Oh my fucking god, they're hard. Now, let me tell you a little bit of a story about these blue orbs, right? So, because of how this click is, you're gonna have like slightly different momentum going into this cube portal every time. Because you click the blue orb and then you just hold all the way into it. Meaning that your momentum going into these blue orbs is going to be slightly different every single time, and you just have to lock in, focus, and sight read the timing for this. You're either going to hit it dead center, you're going to hit it super late, or sometimes you're going to have to hit it early. And it is completely dependent on the click before it, because you're just going to have like slight deviations every single time. These blue orbs are like genuinely so fucking hard. I'm E-tiering them. They're just so difficult, man. They're so hard. They just always felt like slightly uncomfortable. You know? They're just like the equivalent of... when you really have... This is going to be a really shit analogy, by the way. When you really have to fart and you really want to fart and you try to fart, but you feel like, oh, if I fart now, you're going to shit yourself. It's kind of like that. So you don't fart, and then you're just very uncomfortable for the next like 5 minutes until you get to go to the toilet, right? That's exactly how these clicks feel, and it's awful, right? Yeah, it was a shitty analogy, wasn't it? I'm not a fan, bro. Not gonna lie. Then we get into the cube jump into the portal. This one's nice. This is one of those clicks that's like super late though. It's like weirdly late. It doesn't look like it would be very late, but this saw blade is kind of troll. And then comes the precision robot jumps of doom, despair, and evilness. What do I think about this first one? Because this is like... This takes like a page out of Shardscape's book where it's like, oh, you have to be like super precise and land exactly on the corner because otherwise you're just gonna die, by the way. It looks like you have so much room to land on this platform, but if you don't like perfectly nail landing on this corner, you're just gonna hit the spike and you're just gonna be dead. And you're just gonna be like, bruh. And then you're gonna be sad because you got to 32% and you should have gotten further. But the spike was just kind of like, oh, I am big platform. Smile. And then you're like, oh, if you are big platform, I can use platform. And then platform's like, nope, only corner. But it's a very satisfying click. When you pull it off and you start pulling it off consistently, it's very great. But it's weirdly fucking hard. But then, as you can see here, if you cannot tell, you land very perfectly on the corner here. And then you just like micro click. And this micro click is I'm gonna put in D tier. I enjoy the precision of this click right here between the spikes landing on the corner. Don't like actually landing on the corner because you have to like do a super tiny click, but not like an actual micro click, because then you don't reach the blue orb. Because this blue orb is another click that's like, it's fully dependent on the click before it, where if you jump slightly higher, you have a much easier time timing this blue orb, but your likelihood of hitting the spike is enhanced. So you have to like slightly micro it so you can jump and go into the middle of the blue orb, but you just kind of like, I don't know, it's weird. Not a big fan. And then we get to the blue orb. Yes, Sebas, absolutely. Hi, Jiff. What's up? This blue orb is nice. I like this blue orb. This blue orb is satisfying. I'll give it a B tier. I think B tier suits it. It's a good part. The micro click. Now, I'm just now realizing that Loltad's kind of just like the part where every click is dependent on the one before it, even though it doesn't make sense. Like every single click is like a pair of twos, right? Like you do one click and then the next click is kind of affected by it, and then there's nothing and you just land on a platform, and then the next click is kind of whatever, but the click after that one again is affected by the first. And this one is exactly that, where when you do this blue orb, right? Like you do the micro click over here into this blue orb, and then you hit the blue orb, but depending on how late you hit the blue orb, like if you go like slightly high and hit the blue orb like stupidly late, this micro click becomes like a nano click. Right? Like it's promoted from a micro click to a nano click. It's that tiny. Because depending on where you land on this pillar, your click has to be like slightly higher or lower. And that just makes this click stupendous. And I just kind of like had there was like a 2-week period where I would just like always hit this blue orb really fucking late for some reason, making this micro click borderline impossible on rapid trigger, I might add. I'm gonna F tier it. I don't like this micro click, bro. This micro click just stinks, smells. Sounds good, Dragon. See you in a minute. Yeah, it's basically just a subatomic click. If you land far enough to the right on this click, might as well pull out the particle accelerator to blow up some, I don't know, just blow yourself up. Something like that. I don't fucking know, dude. Terrible, terrible way to describe it. But anyway. Then we get to the UFO. The UFO of Doom. The UFO of Doom. If you can't tell, by the way, this is where I start having a lot more to say about the level, because this is where I just kind of like started getting a good amount and just actually had to like focus on the level. This first UFO click is kind of just like whatever. You just kind of like wait it out a little bit and then you just click. It's not really much of a timing. It's pretty easy. Kind of like a nothing burger input. And then this green orb is, again, classic loltad setup part where the green orb click actually like matters for the next click. Because you click it and then you bonk your head and then you bonk your head on the next one, right? That's kind of just the name of the game here. This first green orb, or the green orb click itself is, again, just kind of whatever. You don't really think much about these. But then you get to the first bonk, and the first bonk is not terrible. The first bonk is fine. You just kind of like have to hope for the best. But it's still a D tier. I'm not particularly a fan of it. Anyone who watched my streams, you know how much I absolutely fucking loathe this final UFO click. This final UFO click, I died here so much. It was so genuinely frustrating because once you get past this UFO click, that's like, that's where the level, to me at least, was like, that's where I started counting my attempts. Like, on my counter, my thing, when I said I had 1,400 attempts to the drop, essentially passing this UFO is where it started counting. It doesn't really count with this stray fly because the stray fly is nothing. But once we get like here, that's where I started counting my attempts. And I died to this UFO click so much. Fuck this UFO click. Boo! Because if you can't tell, I'm like very close to the spike here. So I would just like hit the spike a ton. Stinky ass click. Not a fan. This stray fly is nice. I like it. I'm going to give this stray fly a B tier. Because it's like the... Okay, I passed the shit ass UFO click. I can now get far. I just have to dial in. Right? That's kind of what the stray fly is. It's dialing time. I need some water. I'm talking so fast, it feels like. Hi, Exo. How are you doing? Okay. Let's get into Yonaka. An absolutely fantastic part in my opinion. Loltad, I will say, even though I have a lot of really low placing Loltad parts, I really do like Loltad. I want to say that. I think Loltad's part is one of my favorite parts visually. It's probably my favorite part visually in the entire level. It just happens to have a bunch of stinker inputs. And that is not on Loltad. Loltad did not make the gameplay for this part. Loltad just decorated it. It was some other guy who made the gameplay for this. And it just happened to be kind of... It was Killa. Killa made the gameplay for it. And I just kind of think he kind of failed it. Because there's some like really weird setup clicks. Anyway, just wanted to mention that real fast. Hi, Lucidium. What's up, dude? Anyway, let's talk about this blue orb. This blue orb is nothing. I don't think I don't genuinely do not think you ever think about this blue orb, like, ever. It's just a click. And it's a click that clicks, you know? And the same goes for this jump right here. You can't hold this blue orb because then you jump into this spike. So you just kind of like tap, and that's just kind of like all you do. You just kind of vibes. You just kind of like jump over this and land on the slope, and you kind of slide down and you go further. Again, not really much to say about this click. It's just kind of like nothing, right? The same goes for these next two clicks. These two clicks are fine. I like them. The only thing I don't like is that this this click right here. I'm just gonna plonk it into C tier because it's easy. But it is kind of satisfying because you just kind of like weave your way through some spikes and it's like, oh, nice, cool. But this click right here is weird because you can't jump this too early. You want to jump this early because otherwise you hit this spike. You could just like jump into the side of the wall. So you want to jump it early, but you can't also jump it too early because slopes, yippee! And you just kind of like catch the corner here on like a pixel and you're just kind of dead and you're just stupid. Right? I don't know. I'm gonna put this one kind of high actually, because you put a lot of trust into this click, because you click here and then you immediately buffer this blue orb, right? So this blue orb by default is just gonna get a C tier because it's a buffer, because and then you just sit there and wait until you pass the corner and like, okay, I passed it, and then you buffer the blue orb, and then you get into this yellow orb. How many focus streams were there? There was quite a few, but they were mostly on Twitch. But this yellow orb is another case of it looks like it's super open. Like this gap is fucking huge. But you have to hit this yellow orb like super early, because otherwise you can hit this spike again. Obviously, it's always the fucking right side spike, isn't it? And when you hit this yellow orb, you just kind of like sit there and wait until you just like wee woo, and then you get to the next click. But this yellow orb is nice. I'm gonna B tier it. I like it because it sets you up perfectly for the next thing. Because when you do this jump right here, fairly difficult, but also very satisfying. But it kind of just like, it's just a sequence of clicks until arguably the greatest click of all time. This black orb click into Nurgle. Holy Nurgle. Holy fucking Nurgle. Any Nurgle enjoyers in chat? This click right here, I actually have a YouTube video idea. One of the reasons why I wanted to start making like talking videos again. This click right here is the most powerful aura-inducing input of all time. You click it, and Nurgle goes, death. And it's like, boom, you know? Oh, holy. Genuine fucking cinema, bro. I don't know who's responsible for this black orb, but whoever's responsible for this black orb, man, you deserve to win the lottery, dude. Holy. That is just a genuine masterclass of a click. And the same goes for this like little recorrectional thing here as well. Because you hold into this and then you release on this like arrow that wants you to go in here. Because if you can't tell, I'm gonna zoom it in again, right? So you can see. If you can't tell, this is not a stray fly. Nurgle has some really bad dentures. Nurgle has to go to the Nutridentist and get his teeth fixed because holy fuck, it goes bam bam. These teeth are absolute nightmare fuel. So you hold into this and then you do like a recorrectional bump here and then a recorrectional bump here to go down. So you go like a bam bam, and then you correct yourself and stray fly out of it. And these two recorrectional clicks are, again, just absolutely fucking incredible. They are really hard. I died here a ton. I died to 37% a gazillion, trillion, duodecillion times. There was an unhinged amount of 37 deaths. But man, they are fantastic. I really like them. I think these two stray fly clicks are just, they are just a master class of straight fly and ship control mastery. They are, you just feel powerful, right? You just genuinely feel powerful passing this. And it's awesome. And then you do like these two stray fly clicks and they're also just clean. They're not A tier for me. I think I'm going to call them B tier because they are great inputs. But they don't really hold a candle to the Nurgle gap as well as the Black Orb click, right? The Black Orb click and the Nurgle clicks are just in a league of their own, essentially. So it's just one of those things where it's like, yeah, that's peak. Absolute peak. And then we get into Speed Demon. This is where the level goes like super fast. There's like 5 trillion clicks. This Black Orb Pink Orb combo I really like. I think this is a very satisfying part. I'm going to put both of them in A tier because they are genuinely just really nice. You get out of this stray fly, hit the pink pads, and you go up and you just bam. It's just nice. Really smooth, really solid. This is a Pokemon OST, this jump right here, I don't know how my affinity is for this part, because for a very long time, this was just kind of like nothing burger brain. My brain would just kind of like shut off and go full muscle memory here. Because you jump in between here, you jump with the UFO, click the yellow portal as well, and then you hit the black orb, so you fall in between underneath this spike, and then you go click again and then click the pink orb, right? And there's just a lot of inputs that just kind of go super fast, and none of them particularly spoke to me. I think I'm just gonna go all of them here. Actually, no, the black orb I can put into B tier. The black orb is nice. The black orb is very good. And then this click right here is, again, just a C tier. I just don't have a lot of thoughts about it. But then the pink orb right before the Yonica wave blows. I really do not like this pink orb. This pink orb, stupid, because you have to click it super late and you just, ugh, you know? Not particularly a fan of this one. It's just one of those clicks where it's so frustrating to die to, because it should just be a full-on muscle memory thing, right? But the muscle memory just doesn't muscle memory, and when the muscle memory doesn't muscle memory, your muscle memory just kind of like sucks, and this becomes like super frustrating. And dying to this is awful, because it's so easy to click it early and die to the spike. It's so easy to click it late and die to the other spike. And I don't know, I just not a fan, honestly. It's just not good. Yeah, I don't like it. The same kind of goes for this first wave, or the first click of the wave, because it's so easy to click it early and it's so easy to click it late, because you have to wait like a noticeable amount of time from entering the portal until you actually have to do the click. Once you start the clicks and you start going through the motions of the actual wave, it's perfectly fine. It's very satisfying. But this first click in particular, I'm not a big fan of. And this second click is okay. I had a very bad habit of releasing slightly early, so I would hit the corner of the slope. And I just didn't particularly like it, right? Not because of the fact that it's a bad click or anything. I just had bad muscle memory through like the entire thing. Like my entire time playing this level, I just really, really sucked at this one release. And it made for a very frustrating experience, because I would die to 38 a lot. And it was always just annoying, because it was like, oh, if I held for like 2 frames more, it would be fine. And 2 frames on 240 FPS is nothing, right? I think I'm going to put this one in D as well. But then we get to this one, and the final click is actually really nice, because you release into this yellow portal very briefly, and then you click and hold again. And this hold is very nice, because you just go bing. And the placement of this portal is very good. So this final click, I'm actually going to give it A tier. It's just the first 2 clicks that I don't like. The final click of the Yonica wave is very, very good. And the same can be said about this black orb. Once you like hold out of the wave and you go into this black orb is super, super sick. Big fan of this black orb. Very, very good. But then again, there's just something about this part that just kind of like flops a little bit. Because when you go into this yellow portal and you go into hit the blue orb, it's just kind of weird. It plays odd. It plays weirdly. But it's one of those things where passing it is very satisfying, but not passing it sucks ball sack. I think I'm going to go C, because I think it has too many highs and too many lows. Because when you pass it, it's like, oh yeah, nice, we're getting 2 smokes, finally. But dying to it is like, oh, why didn't I get to smokes? Does that make sense? I feel like that doesn't make sense. Right? That's how I feel about it. Yonica is a mix of super high highs and super low lows, I'm realizing. Because the highs in Yonica are incredible. But man, there are some very nasty lows. And this first straight fly click is another one of those incredibly bad lows. I do not like this click at all. Because, again, the blue orb right before it, this one right here, there is like a slight lenience to this click. But that also means that because you just kind of like, you have a different angle going into the stray fly every single time. So how much you hold into this first one is always slightly different. And that slight difference is very annoying. So I think I'm going to put this one in F tier. I can't lie. I really do not like this click. The recorrectional click, I'm neutral on. I never really died. The only reason I would ever die to this one is because of the fact that I got a weird swoop out of the first click. Which was rough. I'm going to put it in D tier, actually. I take it back. And then this yellow orb is just kind of whatever. What do you do? Join to? Fucking nerd overcomplicates and talks way too much about individual inputs in 3-minute geometry dash level. That's what you walked in on. These next two clicks are kind of nothing. We don't ever think about them. I think I died to this click like maybe one time. Which just says a lot because I got there like 900 something. I don't have anything to say about them, man. They're just kind of nothing. This spike jump is... Where's the smokes? Oh my goodness, we're at smokes now. Shoutouts if you love smokes. I love smoking. Nerdle talking about Nurgle. Yeah, that was funny, Luna. Thank you. Yeah, man, what do I think about this one? This click is kind of nothing, again. I think because of the fact that these, like, few clicks are, like, sandwiched between, like, turbo shit or turbo peak, this click kind of just, like, doesn't do anything. But it's kind of nice. I do like it. Because it's, like, the entry into Fuckville. You know? You know what I mean? It doesn't matter if it lacks deco. I'm not ranking this on deco. Hello? I have like 6 Loltad clicks in D, E, and F. I'm not ranking this by deco. All of this would be ass. This black orb though. This stray fly is really fucking nice. I can't lie. This black orb into recorrectional click into hold. Ooh, oh, yes. As much as I dog on the triple click in smokes, I gotta be so for real. This ship is so fucking satisfying to do. I'm putting both of these clicks in A tier, I think. They just feel fantastic to play. Yeah, that's it right. Sits right with me. Because you just kind of like, bam, bam, hold, and you just, yes, perfectly swoop into this yellow portal. And then you do like one recorrection in the yellow portal before you get into ass shitville deluxe. Right? This recorrectional click is not as good. I'm going to give it a B tier though, because it's still very nice. I did just die here a few times, which was kind of ass. It's 41 from Ohio. If you know, you know. But it's not a terrible click by any means. I just kind of died here a little bit too much. And especially towards the end of my grind. I don't know why. I don't think I ever died here for the first like 2 months. And then afterwards, towards the end, like the last like 2 weeks of me playing this level, I just kind of died here a lot. And I don't know why. I think it was because my brain just kind of like overcomplicated and just braced myself on 41. That I died to easy 41 instead. Now we're talking about hell on earth. 41%. Now, here comes my unpopular opinion. I honestly just think it's only the first click that's terrible. The first click of the triple click. Doo-doo ass shit. However, if you remember on the first one, I like spacebar clicks. Spacebar clicks are awesome. I think this second click, even though I died to it a lot, actually pulling off the bam, it's kind of fire, I can't lie. Just play with spacebar at this point? No, because that takes away the magic, right? Like, if you do cocaine once, it feels awesome. But the more you do cocaine, it feels worse and worse. You need more and more of it to feel good about it. If I just raw dog spacebar, the magic is gonna fade, right? The second click, I kind of really fuck with. Very nice. I do like it a lot. But the third click, after the spacebar click, when you do the bam, and then you just do the hold, and you hold in your input, hoping to God that you didn't fuck up the triple click, and you hold all the way into this mini portal. Yes. Incredible. Absolutely incredible. The only thing that kind of sucked about it is the fact that you would like occasionally catch this corner, which kind of blew ass, I can't lie, because there's a massive gap here. You really don't have to click it that early. My muscle memory just told me to click it early for some reason, and that was just a personal issue on my end, so I would die to it occasionally. But this third click, the satisfaction, the elation, the high, the absolute trip you go on going through this triple click, incredible. The triple click is not bad. It's just the first click. Because if you get the first click, you get the rhythm for it. The rhythm goes smoothly. Towards the end of my grind with this level, I would never die to click 2 or 3. It was only ever click number 1. Click number 1, boo! Stink A! Stink shit! Fuck you! Click 2 and 3, yippee! Like them a lot. It is 3 wave clicks, bro. I have so much to say about them. Anyway. Aeon relating what he does in Deimos to what he does IRL. No comment. Now, this mini wave click. I really like this mini wave click. I can't lie. Like, I really like smokes. I want to preface this real quick. I think smokes is an absolutely fantastic part. The only reason why smokes was frustrating was the first click of the triple click. The rest of smokes is fantastic. I really like smokes. I think smokes is a genuinely fantastic part. It's just that one click that I really sucked at, right? This mini wave is no different. This first click, awesome, really cool. You click, you hold, you land on this block, and then you slide on it and go further down. It's just like the stagger of landing on this block is awesome. It's really cool, and it's a really cool piece of structuring that I think more people should honestly try to implement. Because I don't know if you've played a level with a wave part where you just kind of like go slide up blocks and go further up past those blocks, but they're really fucking satisfying, dude. Those kind of wave parts are incredibly satisfying, and I think this is a really good example of it with this mini wave click. And then you have this mini wave correction, because as you see here, after you slide off the block, you hold until you almost hit the spike, release, and then you do one more final click to get through this. And man, yes, so good, dude. Incredible. I died here a lot. This is a really hard wave input. Just straight up ridiculously hard, right? This is a genuinely hard input in every way, shape, or form. I just really like it, man. This click is insanely good. Because you just passed what I think is the first, like, truly impossible part of the level, that being this wave. And this final input is just, it is cinema. Right? It is just a great input. It's just very hard. And then we get to Blind Click Central. Ooh. These are satisfying to pull off. I can't put them that high because, well, they are what comes after, like, one of the most intense and insane sequences of all time. I will put this yellow orb, I want to put in C tier. I don't feel too much about this yellow orb. But then you get into this green orb. This green orb I want to put in B tier because it's very satisfying. You kind of just like bam, 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 right? And this green orb, it's very nice. You don't see anything. It's a blind click. So it shouldn't be that good. It just kind of is. But this black orb, ooh, I really like this black orb. This black orb I want to put in A tier. Because you just kind of like have that like fluid, nice sine wave almost from the green orb into the blue portal. And then you have to time the green orb to get like a really nice launch down into this pink orb. It's really nice. It's very, very nice. And then the pink orb is similar to the yellow orb, I think, where it just kind of like autopilots a little bit. Don't really think too much about it. But then, ooh, we get into the lovely, lovely ship clicks. These ship clicks are so satisfying. Oh, yeah, no, these ship clicks are fucking magic, bro. I don't know if any of you guys have played Cyberpunk 2077, but they have a thing in that game called brain dances, which is essentially just like they insert a chip into your brain and they play like a recorded memory, and it's usually just smut, right? If I could replay doing this ship for the first few times in my brain over and over again, I would pay good money to do that, because holy shit, there's just something about this ship part that's just really nice, because it just kind of like chomps you, like the two structures just kind of go in together, so you have to like go up, fall into the portal, do like a slight correction, fall in between two more spikes, and just like align it perfectly, because otherwise you're gonna die into the spider, right? So it's like a master class in ship control. Really good. I love this ship part. We're getting a second line of S tiers. This ship is incredible. I really like them. They're fantastic. Bye, Roman. Have a good rest of your day. I'm gonna cover every single release in Deimos? No. Nope. And we have the spider. What do I think about the spider? I'm gonna be real. I'm just gonna put them in C tier. I really don't have much to say about the spider. I feel like the spider is just kind of like autopilot central. What is cool about the spider though is that if you accidentally hit this the corner on this one, if you go like if you do the second click very early, so you hit the corner on the side of the spike, the third click becomes a buffer, and I think that's kind of fun. I think that's a fun little Easter egg you can do. So like if you can like condition your brain to hit this one slightly early, so you always hit this corner, the third click just becomes free, and I think that's fun. I think that's a cool little thing you can do, right? But then we get to silly, goofy, spider green black orb, and from what I've learned from playing levels after Deimos, black orbs in spider where you have to land in between spikes blow dick. Jesse Pinkman reference. 75% Jesse Pinkman? Yeah. Boo. Stinky. Don't like this one. I'm going to put it in E tier. It's not quite an F tier, because I didn't die there that much. But it was just one of those clicks that just always felt like slightly uncomfortable to me. Oh, actually, you make a good point, Luna. You make a good point. The second one should be B tier because of the secret strat. You're right. I agree. I'll move it up. But yeah, no, I don't like this black orb spider click. I think it's uncomfortable. And then this click right here is just kind of like, you click it late, and then there's like a whole ass auto section here. Like there's like 500 slopes in this part to make sure you do not die. If you somehow manage to die to this click, you deserve some fucking playtesting award, because that's crazy. I'm gonna put it in D tier though, because it's Just not a good part in the context of, or a good click in the context of the part itself. That makes sense. Next up, we have Juho. I'm gonna have to think a little bit on Juho here. Juho's probably gonna be the part that I rip the most to shreds. Because, man, Juho is a part. This first dual click is honestly pretty nice. I do like it. I think the first dual ship click is going to be a B tier. It's just kind of like scary because if you hit it, click it a little bit too late, you get the swoop, but you die to the spikes from just not going early enough. And I think that's kind of silly. Because you can make the swoop and then die to the stray flight because you can't make it into the stray flight itself. I mean, I guess that makes it so you don't actually pass the swoop. But you know what I mean. So I find this click is very like butt clench because there's quite a lot of room in between the last click of Smokes and the first click of Juho. Like there's the whole second worth of just nothing. You're just gonna sit there and wait until you do the click. And then the click itself is very awkward. Actually, no, you know what? Fuck it, D tier. Now that I said that out loud, I realized that click is just awkward. It doesn't have any redeeming qualities. It's just awkward. And then we get into the recorrectional click into the stray fly. When you finish the swoop, you release at the apex of the swoop, and then you do a recorrection into this this yellow portal, and it's fine. It plays okay. But then you have this one. I don't know if you can tell, but these saw blades are fucking huge. There's like a black saw blade behind it, so like the visible saw blades are much smaller than the actual hitbox, which makes it awful. Because you have to like recorrect yourself and get like a tiny swoop into this before you hit the yellow orb, and I just don't like it. I feel like this is like an E tier click because it just never felt good to play. Not particularly a huge fan of it. It plays weird. It just doesn't feel satisfying to pull off. Don't particularly like it. This yellow orb is similarly to the recorrectional click where I just don't feel much about it, but that's also mostly because of the fact that I feel like it's sandwiched between two significantly worse clicks. And when you hit the yellow orb, the next click is also very reliant on it because you have to like, because the hitbox of the actual portal isn't rotated in any way, shape, or form, if you click the yellow orb like super early, you're going to change gravity super late. And this click is just horrible. Absolutely fucking horrible. Do not like it whatsoever. It is unreasonably bad. I think they should have rotated it 90 degrees so that you always hit the portal in the same angle, just to like make it a little bit more consistent. I do not like this click at all. I think it is terribly made, just not very good. Yeah, no, I don't like it. Not good. Okay, now we're into the good part of Juho at least. So Juho is actually has some good gameplay. It's just it's just two things in particular that are like super terrible ass piss. The first ship being one of them, and then this cube is nice. This first click I don't really feel much about, but then we get into the two blue orbs, and I think the blue orbs are solid. I think they're very satisfying to pull off. I enjoyed them. So I'm gonna put them in B tier. And honestly, no, not this click. This click could also go B tier. This pink orb is fine, but then we have this green orb. This green orb kind of stinks, I'm not gonna lie, because it's so easy because of where the green portal is placed. I don't know if you can tell, but there's a green portal here that you go into a mini portal and then a green portal again, right? And if you as much as had one singular frame of green portal hittage, you just get absolutely fucking launched. But you can't buffer this click because you will just die to the spike. So it's like a timing, but you can't time it too late. You have like a visible timer on screen for when you can the latest hit it, and it's just frustrating. I'm gonna E-tier this one. It's not a hard click, but dying to it always sucked ass, right? Not a big fan of this one. I always thought this click was just very frustrating in a lot of ways. And this click as well is just, because of how you could hit that green orb, this click could sometimes be a buffer click and sometimes not. I think in my completion it wasn't. I never practiced it in a way that it was a buffer click for me, so I just never really found it that bad. But this is kind of like a nothing burger click to me. But the only saving grace really of this this cube part in Juho is this last click. I think this last click is fantastic, where you hit this blue orb, you jump out here and you hit the blue orb late, so you go in between the spikes. I think this blue orb is really nice. This blue orb is good. I'm gonna call this an A tier. Yeah, that's an A tier click, I think. Yeah, I like the A tier for it. It's a solid input. Solid, solid, solid. I'm gonna lose my voice after this. I can already tell, man. This is the most I've spoken in 2 hours in fucking ages. Okay, first wave click of Juho. First wave click of Juho. Okay. The first wave click I actually do kind of like. I think this... Nah, actually, no. I had a bad habit of hitting the corner here. I'm going to put it in C tier. Because it's not a bad click. It's just kind of like I happen to die to it a lot because I suck. But then we have this click. There is a lore to this input. I don't know if any of you guys know the lore behind 46% on Deimos. This singular input is the only reason I beat Molten Core. Because Molten Core has a lot of these kind of wave movements where you go up, release, do like a small recorrectional click, and then go down again. I beat a whole ass fucking top 250 just for this singular input. Because I sucked ballsack at it to begin with. Actually, hold up. I'm pulling up my, How the fuck is it? Hold up. I'm pulling up the doc here, right? Yeah, as you can see, on my return, I had 33 deaths to 46, which is bad, but I had 167 to 47, right? That's not too bad. When I first played this, and before I took my break, I went 14 to 46 and 35 to 47. I was almost matching them 1 to 2 because of this godforsaken micro adjustment. I sucked so bad at it. It was unbelievable. It was my only motivation to beat Molten Core was to actively improve at this kind of wave movement. And it worked. But this click fucking sucks. F tier. I hate this click. It is awful. Bad. Don't like it. Stinks. And then we have the funny mini wave. The funny 4x speed mini wave. That looks really easy, but is actually really hard. I like this part. I think this part is solid. I'm actually an enjoyer of this mini wave. I found it very satisfying. It's one of those things where it's just like an actual, like an active skill issue to not pass it. So I never found this to be particularly annoying. If you watch my streams, you would know that if I died to this mini wave, I would just be like, ah, whatever. Fair enough, I guess. So I actually found it very satisfying. Pulling it off is very, very nice. But it was just one of those things where just like, I couldn't really do anything about it. I was just being locked behind bad gamer, right? Anonymous, what's up, dude? How are you doing? But yeah, I like this mini wave. I think this mini wave is very satisfying. But again, it is kind of held back by the fact that it's in the middle of the hardest part of the level. But it's a good part. Now, this part, 47% Deimos, this big wave is, in a lot of ways, exactly the same as Deimos 41, where it's a good part held back by one absolutely fucking impossible click. This first click I like. I think this first click out of the mini wave is actually really good. I'm going to put this click in A tier. It's fairly wide open. You kind of just have to adjust on the fly whether or not you click it late or click it early. It's good. Fuck this click. The first correction here. The only reason this click is bad, by the way, is because of the positioning of this big spike. If this big spike, if they flip, okay, so if they flipped this around, so the big spike was on the top and the small spike was on the bottom, this would be perfectly fine. I genuinely do not understand what on God's green earth Doggy was thinking making this thing symmetrical. If he flipped these two spikes, it would be perfectly okay. Because the next thing, this thing, the exit of the wave is identical in structuring, right? You have these three spikes at the top here. You have the big spike on the bottom with the small spike on the side. Identical. The only reason the second one is not that bad and the first one is absolutely fucking horrendous is the fact that when you go up here and you release into this, you are perfectly aligning yourself either to hit the side of the spike or hit the top of the spike. And you have to be like super quick and make a micro adjustment above it. But if the spikes were flipped and you had the small one on the bottom, you would have, in the context of the level, 1 billion years worth of extra time to make the adjustment and not just get flung into the spike point blank, right? Why Doggy didn't just flip the spikes around 180 degrees and mirror the two sections of it, I will never understand. Never. In a million years, I will never understand why they had to be symmetrical. Because the only reason this wave is as bad as it is because of the fact that it happens to be symmetrical. Fat fucking F tier for this one. Reisner, thank you for the raid. How are you doing? How was your stream? Hope you had a fun time. The second click is not so bad. This is like actual like proper alignment. Like the structuring of the wave here actually makes sense. You kind of click up, go down, fall down, right? This is a solid click. I really like it. I'm going to give this one a B tier. I think this click is solid. The next click, this one, the final click of this wave, this is a really good click. I really like it. Again, the structuring, perfectly reasonable. You go in between the spikes in a good way, good manner. You just kind of like go up here, fall in between the two spikes the way that it should be happening. And you go up and you do the release. Very nice, right? Then we have this ship click. The ship click that exits you out of Juho. And when you arguably get into the final sequence of level and you get past it, this is an absolute S tier input. I absolutely love this ship click. It is so satisfying. You can't really tell by looking. Let's zoom in a little bit, right? But like you have to go and weave in between these clicks. You do this one click and you go like wee, and then you fall in between here, and then you go wee, and then you swoop, and it's like a woo, very beautiful movement. This part is incredibly fucking satisfying. I really like it. I think this is an absolutely banger click, top tier. Juho nailed this one. Fantastic. Everything in Juho is ruined by this one fucking click. Okay, that's a lie. Juho has 3 F tiers, but, you know. It could have been so much better, though. It is very easy to fix. This one, skill issue on my end. This one is just bad alignment. This one, also just bad alignment. Flip the spikes. This part is completely fixed. That's the second half of the second quarter of the level. We're officially on the halfway point. What are we thinking? I don't even think it's because of Doggy's a waiver. There's a lot of waivers who have played Deimos and beaten Deimos, and all of them agree that this is just shit structuring, right? Like, this click right here is just inexcusably bad. And it's just because of the structuring of the spikes. Nice, Reisner. 73 is really good. Very, very solid. Anyway, I have a lot to say about Juho's part. This part is just stink ass. Stupid fucking ad, go away. There's a missing click here, by the way, in the stray fly, but that's fine. It's an A tier. The other ship click is a A tier. Now we get into this part. This is going to be covering Lyson, Lieb, Poke Chat, River, Alkali, and Hybrid. It looks like. Yup. Okay. We are going to start strong. This ball click, the first ball click, once you land on the platform and you go up to bonk on this slope, is a good B tier. I really like it. And then we have this one, which I think is a good A tier. This green orb is very, very satisfying. However, I'm not going to lie. Lyson kind of falls off immediately because... Wait, hold up. For those of you who have who watched my streams, there was a point in time where this yellow orb just became super fucking hard for me. Oh my god, Arion, shut up, goofy. What do you mean your furthest fails on Blade of Justice is 73, 50, and 29? What does that mean? Hello? Anyway, this yellow orb. This yellow orb, for some reason, became absolutely fucking awful for me, and I really do not know why. I just kept dying to it. I think I had like 9 or 10 deaths to this fucking yellow orb, and it makes absolutely zero sense in the context of this level, because I only ever died to this the first time. I think I died to this yellow orb the first time after I got 88% on this level. And I went on to die here like 9 or 10 times. Which is actually unfucking real. I have no idea how that happened or why it happened. It's just kind of one of those things that just kind of happened. I'm going to E tier it. I would F tier it. If it wasn't for the exact next click. Deimos 49! Yes! For anyone who has never seen Deimos 49, put on your reading glasses, zoom in on the screen. There are 2 spikes here. I would get questions every single time I died here. Wait, or not questions. I would get comments every single time I died to 49%, being like, wait, I thought this jump was free. What do you mean there are spikes here? Yup, that is not background decoration. Those 2 triangles are not part of the background. Those are spikes, and they are really fucking dumb because this is a triple speed click. For most people who end up playing this level, 49 is just one of those clicks where it's just like, it's an unnecessary choke point that just kind of exists. I think even Zoink complained about this click. I'm fairly certain if you pull up Zoink's completion of Deimos, he said the entire level was perfectly fine, except for this click for some reason, because it just... Why are there spikes here, and why are they not background decoration? Why don't you just jump and do the next few clicks? Nope, you have to jump between 2 tiny-ass spikes that you can barely see. F tier. Do not like this click. Then you get into a very satisfying sequence of clicks. After you jump through 49, you hit this blue orb, and then you hold, and then you hit the red orb, and then you hit the green orb. No, sorry, not the green orb. You hit the... No, you do hit the green orb. You hit the red orb, then the green orb, and then the blue orb. Lots of clicking here, sorry. This blue orb is very nice. I really like it in the context of it being just directly after 49. You hit 49 and you click this blue orb super fast. But because you do the jump and then you click it, it's one of those clicks that just feels elevating. And it's only because of the fact that 49% sucks so much dick that this click just... It's such an easy input, you never think about it at all, but it feels fantastic to do simply because of the fact that it's right after one of the worst clicks of the level. Arguably, I would say that for this click right here is like bottom 3 clicks in the entire level. Which immediately elevates this click to an A tier. Because it's just so, you just feel so much relief over the fact that you didn't die to 49. Right? That's how this click feels. It's a banger click just because of the fact that I clicked before it sucks. Ooh, we got Cynthia's theme? Hold up. Wait. Banger alert. I'm going to shut up for a minute. Anyway. This red orb is nice. This red orb is another case of, why is the spike there? By the way. I died to this a few times, but, again, peel your eyeballs real quick. You see this? Yeah, that's also not background decoration. That's also a spike. It's not as hard. It's not nearly as hard as this. But the fact that this spike here is actually a real spike is one of those things that you would never realize unless someone told you or you played the level yourself. It's kind of goofy, but it's an easy click, so I don't really mind it. But it's one of those clicks that would have been much more satisfying if it wasn't for the fact that you're, like, slightly clenched. Like, your cheeks are slightly clenched, so it kind of, like, falls down a tier. It would have been a B tier if that spike wasn't real. Why is this part like this? I don't know, man. Ask Lyson. Don't ask me, bro. Please make this a full video. I'm just going to leave the stream up. It's not like I'm taking a lot of detours or anything. I'm just kind of straight talking. There doesn't need to be any editing here. It's just going to be a long-ass fucking stream. This green orb is very nice. You hit this red orb, and then you immediately buffer the green orb. This green orb is very satisfying. I can't lie. I really like this green orb. Because once you get into this green orb, that's where you kind of just start going hard with this level. And the same with this blue orb. I want to put this blue orb in B tier as well, because it's just like... This green orb, blue orb combo is just kind of like, okay, now we're cooking. Now we're absolutely cooking. And then we get into another one of Deimos's amazing, incredible, absolutely fantastic swoops. Swoop TM. And it's a banger. This first swoop, really like it. It's a very good swoop. I want to put it in A tier. I think this swoop is the better swoop. Because you just kind of like... You can align this much more easily by just clicking whenever you enter the portal. Like, you go into the portal and then you start clicking and holding once you actually, like, see yourself change into the ship. Which is a very nice, consistent, easy visual cue. That's not the case for the next one. I'm just going to mention that real quick. And that's because this next two clicks, the blue orb is perfectly fine. I don't really have anything about the blue orb. The blue orb is perfectly okay. You just kind of want to hit it early. And the reason why you want to hit it early is because once you get to this yellow orb is kind of evil. I'm not going to lie. Because, okay, so we're doing a lot of zooms here. But you cannot tell by looking at it. There's a black saw blade here. I think it's just a bad screenshot, I'm not gonna lie. But there's a saw blade here. So if you hit this yellow orb too late, you can just kind of like hit the saw blade. And I died to that a few times. So if you hit it like... If you hit this blue orb too late, and you time the yellow orb correctly, you're too much to the right, so you hit the saw blade here. Which, I'm not gonna lie, I don't really think it matters, because I think you would have died here anyway. But there's like an off chance you die to the saw blade, which is really goofy. So that's why you want to hit the blue orb early. But then comes in the difficulties of this yellow orb, where if you hit it too late, which you want to hit it late, because you want to like go in between this, because if you don't, well, then you get launched into these spikes. You can hit it too late and hit the side of this spike as well. And it's just kind of like, there's a lot of nuance to this yellow orb that really doesn't feel like it needs to be as nuanced as it is. And it kind of all depends on the blue orb before it. So I'm going to put it in D tier. Because it's like my third least favorite license click. Because, well, it's not as shit as this one. And it's definitely not as shit as this one. But there's just so many things that can go wrong with this yellow orb. Right? There's just a ton of things that can go really wrong with this yellow orb. And it's just kind of unnecessary. Right? That's how I feel about it. This yellow orb is just... So much can go wrong here. And, you kind of want to streamline this yellow orb as well, because once you get into the ship click, unlike the other ship click where it's an auto that sends you into it, this ship click is fully dependent on how you do the yellow orb, right? So you want to like have a streamlined timing for the yellow orb where you hit it in the middle so that you go perfectly centered. But if you do the blue orb differently, you can either hit this right here, or you can hit the saw blade, and then you get flung into this ship click, which is like oddly hard because, well, it's a blind timing. I don't know if you can tell, but you kind of like exit out the ship portal, and then you hold, and then you just kind of hope for the best because it is a blind timing. The saw blade and the spike that you go in between, you cannot see at all. You just gotta believe in the process. You gotta trust it. You gotta know. You just gotta be familiar enough with the level to know, okay, this is where I hold, and you just send it, right? And that's just kind of how this part goes. But it's still a good click. I find this one very satisfying. It's just one of those. It's very easy to die to. I'm gonna pull up the sheet again. 50. I died to 4 times. All of them were in like the last week. But the other one I died to like a bunch. I died to 51 and 52 like 19 times total, and that's just that ending, right? And it's just kind of like a silly part, if that makes sense. And then we have, you guessed it, another spike that doesn't look like it should exist. Woohoo! You see this spike right here? If you can see here, you see that I'm basically inside of these 2 spikes. That's because if you do not jump this one incredibly fucking late, you're dead to that spike. That spike doesn't look like it should be real. I don't know what Lyson was thinking, bro. Lyson just has a bunch of spikes that doesn't look like they should exist. But this click is fine. I like this click. I think that click is very satisfying. It's not very hard. The only problem with this click right here is that I think it's a 2.2 issue. But if you occasionally, I don't know, it's a fucking bit flip, fucking cosmic rays or some shit, where after you hit this auto 2 blue pads, sometimes you just kind of like bonk on the corner and you fall into a buffer hold here, which makes absolutely no sense because you slide into the blue pad, so it should be 100% consistent. It just isn't. So sometimes you will just like bonk on the corner, fall into a hold here, and then you jump, and you just kind of have to react on the spot to it. Very odd. Very, very weird. But the jump itself is nice. I like it. I'm going to give it a B tier. But it's just, I don't know. Lyson is one of those parts that is just so unbelievably nuanced with how much shit can go wrong. And I feel like that just kind of shows. These 2 last clicks, I feel completely neutral on. I don't really have any thoughts and opinions. They're just kind of like C-tier clicks. After you do the clicks, you just kind of like bam, bam, and you're just done. There's nothing else to it. The only thing after this yellow orb, you hold and you jump again because you hit the yellow orb, hold, go here, and then you just whee, right? And then we get into my favorite gameplay part in the whole level. And it's going to show. Lieb is, in my book, the best part gameplay-wise in the entire level. There's going to be a lot of high rankings here, I think. Hi, Genius Cuber. Ranking every frame by visuals. That's a good point. We should do that. Anyway, this first pink orb is... I kind of want to say one of my lesser favorite parts of this, because this pink orb is really hard. If you can see by the visual here, by the screenshot, you hit this pink orb really fucking late. But it's a very nice click. I still want to call this an A-tier click, because you click this super late, and you go like kind of late on the dasher as well. It's just 2 really nice, satisfying late clicks. It's very, very nice. It's just 2... It's a super strong opening to Lieb's part. Super late pink orb, super late dash orb. Hold all the way into being like slightly above this spike and release. And then you go up. This first wave click, I'm going to be real, is probably my least favorite click in the part. And me putting it in C tier should tell you absolutely everything you need to know about how insanely good this part is. Because C tier probably being my least favorite click in the entire part, that says a ton. It's just a banger. Because you click up here and go down, but then you get into the magic that is blue orbs in wave parts. I don't know if anyone agrees with me, but blue orbs in wave parts might just be the greatest thing ever made. I just have no more notes. I just think blue orbs in wave is just so satisfying. Yeah, like the blue orb in the drop wave of Vac is just sick, dude. It's just really good. I think this is a clean S tier. I really like this blue orb. Because you click into it and hold all the way into the Q portal, and then you have like a slight bit of momentum into the Q portal, so you just kind of get a slight bump, so you have a nice little curve to then hit this green orb into the wave, and it's such a nice sequence of inputs. Again, this is just a very good click. You get flung into your trajectory here to then just nail a perfectly dead center green orb click, and it's just so good, man. Lieb is just so fucking good at making gameplay. God, this is making me reconsider the idea of Atomic Cannon Mark II. I can't lie. Because Lieb kind of just like locked in with this part. These two wave clicks I don't particularly have much to say about. I think they're just kind of B tier clicks. They're good, but they're just kind of masked behind the awesome sauceness that is this mini wave click. This mini wave click is awesome. You click like super low. You go like bam, bam, bam. Like you do like 2 fast clicks with the big wave here. Fall like really deep down into the trenches almost of this mini wave, and then you go up, hit your head here, and then you hold all the way into almost going off the platform before you fall down, right? This wave, this mini wave click is awesome. I always found this mini wave click super satisfying. I really like it. This is a super good mini wave click. I really enjoy it. I have no more notes. It's just a very satisfying click. I found it very hard to find a good click pattern for it initially. To begin with, I tried doing 3 clicks here, actually, like 1, 2, 3, fall down into the mini wave and then going up, but I just found that like slightly inconsistent. But when I did find the click pattern that worked for me with this wave part, awesome, really good. Blue orb wave into cube might be top 1 portal to portal combo. Yeah, 100% agree, actually. You might be right. Okay, then we have this slide. The Cha-Cha slide from wave into cube. You jump, and then you hit the black orb, and then you hit the blue orb. Oh, I lied, actually. The first wave click is not my least favorite click in Lieb. That's coming up. This first click, this jump is kind of just there. It's not bad. It's very satisfying. After the magic that is that wave, though, it is kind of just a little underwhelming. But it's not a bad underwhelming. Because you just have this staircase pattern into the cube itself. And it just kind of like perfectly aligns you into like something awesome. Right? Like you see, you just go smoothly through this like super tiny gap into a cube. And then you just immediately jump out of it. And it's just like... It kind of just feels like a sneak attack. Does that make sense? It just kind of feels like a sneak attack. It's really cool. Have I seen Atomic Cannon Prime? Yes, I have. This black orb is nice. I think this black orb is kind of similar to the first one, where it's kind of just like... It's a good click that isn't as amazing because the mini wave right before it is just super good, right? But then we get into my least favorite click of Lieb. And it's this blue orb. And the reason why is because it's so easy to hit this too late and so easy to hit this too early. This is a weirdly specific input. Because the way you hit this black orb before, it kind of just changes your trajectory. So you can't always reliably hit it in the middle. Because if you hit the black orb like slightly early, hitting it in the middle is just going to make you die to hitting the top spike here. But if you hit it super late, hitting it in the middle is going to make you hit it like visibly super late, which makes it so that you just jump into the structure that you're supposed to jump onto. And there's like a lot of weird nuance to this blue orb that I just didn't particularly vibe with. And in the same way as this yellow orb in Lyson, it's just a lot of weird nuance that doesn't really need to be there, that is based on the click before it, which just makes it awkward to play, which I'm not a huge fan of. Right? Does that make sense? I feel like that makes sense. Hello, Sist. What's up? Hi, Bingus. How are you doing? Hope you're having a good day today. This black orb is nice, though. I like this black orb. This black orb can get a solid A tier for me. It's very satisfying. You get launched into a nice UFO part, and this UFO is kind of... I'm apparently really weird for this UFO part, actually, now that I think about it. When it comes to this UFO, I'm, like, the only person ever to do it in, like, 3 clicks. It's 4 clicks. Everyone else does it in 5. Everyone does everyone goes 1, 2, and then they do 1, 2, 3 in this spam, and then they do the dash orb. I do 1, 2, and then I do 2 clicks here for some reason. And apparently I'm the weird one for it. But I think that just makes sense. I don't know why people are like, oh, you have to do 3 clicks here, you have to spam it. Nope. I did a 1, 2, 3, hit the dash orb on the 3rd one. Worked perfectly fine. I don't think I ever died to it. Maybe I died to it like once, and that was just because I was in my throw era. But these are just all kind of just like, okay. I think, no, I want this one in B tier. This is the first one of those clicks, and then we have the second one here. I think this is a good B tier as well. And then the last dash orb, I want in A tier. The dash orb is really nice. Energy wasters, exactly. I probably have the lowest amount of clicks in Deimos total. I think I have the lowest click count in Deimos because I barely clicked anything. Everywhere where people do like super fast clicks, I would just not do that. And I don't know. I think I have the world record for least amount of clicks in a Deimos completion. If that's a thing, I don't know. Because I want to go count. Then we get to this one. This one's finicky. Because this one's a 2.2 casual. Or casualty, sorry. But it's a weird one. Because you kind of like click this one, but if you wait too long on this one, you just kind of like jump into the structure. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't know if you've seen, but when there's, if there's an orb inside of a block that you can slide off of, if you wait too long, you jump from the block itself and you do not interact with the orb. Right? So, take a platform with a green orb at the end of it. If you wait long enough to click the green orb, you just don't hit the green orb at all, and you jump from the block instead of hitting the green orb. Does that make sense? That's what this click is. So I kind of feel... It was never hard, so I kind of feel neutral about it. I never actually, like, properly died to it. I think I died to it, like, twice, maybe. But it was always one of those, why? Right? Then we have the first skip of the level. Or the only skip of the level, I think. Is it? Anyway, when you jump from here, you can just kind of like hold and you just whee, and then you just don't have to do a lot of extra clicks. Because normally you're supposed to hit this black orb and then jump from it. But you just don't have to do that. You could just like click and hold, and then you just go through the whole thing. And it's a very weirdly satisfying thing. I'm going to put that in A tier because I like this jump. Because when I discovered that you could just hold this and not click the black orb, I was like, oh my goodness, that's like the greatest thing of all time. Maybe you never were intended to hit the black orb and I'm just stupid. That's also very likely, actually. Who knows? Maybe I was just stupid to begin with. Huh. Never thought about that one. Anyway, then you hit this orb. This one is very inconspicuous. It doesn't really do anything. I lied again. This blue orb is not the worst click in Leeb. This click right here is the worst click in Leeb. Oh my goodness fucking gracious. 55% is the biggest butt clench of all time. I forget. When I took a break from this level... Yeah, when I took a break from this level, I was on a 50-50 for this click. This yellow orb, I had a 50-50 on. I died to it 5 times. I passed it 5 times. That's when I decided to take a break, because I was like, nah, there's no way. This is an F tier click. It just sucks. You have to click it so fucking late. If you cannot tell, it does not look like I survive here. I am already getting my butthole shaved by the saw blade. And I'm outside. I've completely passed the yellow orb. And this is the frame I click. This click should not be real. That's because it is impossible. It's just one of those clicks that it does not deserve to be as hard as it is. It just is absolutely absurdly difficult. Not a fan of this one whatsoever. The click after it is way more lenient though. The second yellow orb is not that bad. You just kind of like have to click it kind of in the middle. I never really had much to think about that one. You just kind of click it and hold. Because then you go into the ship part where you hold into the block up here. And then you kind of release. So the first like ship click of PogChat. Now we're in PogChat's part. You just kind of like click this yellow orb and hold. And then you release between the saw blade and spike. This is where the level gets real, bro. We're at the break now. This is where the level gets completely real. And I cannot lie. This first click is kind of nice. Because this is just a recorrectional click, right? Like very similar to a lot of other ship parts. You just do like one recorrectional click before you do like a cool hold. And this recorrectional click is nice. But then you do like, as you can see here, oh my god, oh my goodness, I was really close to hitting the corner here. After the recorrectional click, you hold into this like mini tiny swoop up until you hit the yellow portal. But you kind of hold a little teeny tiny bit into the yellow portal so you don't have a ton of downwards momentum and hit the saw blade. So you can like weave your way in between them. But when you do, right? Like this hold is very nice. This hold I'm going to give it an A tier. I like this hold. It's very like tense. It's very cool. It's very calm, collected. You just have to like have a lot of ship control, which is very nice. But then you do like this tiny recorrectional click here. I never really liked... I like the recorrectional click. The recorrectional click is good. It's satisfying. But this hold right here, oh my god, this hold fucking blows. Because you can't... Okay, so... You're at the break in Deimos. You're passing the first few parts of this ship. You're feeling good about it. And then you do like a slight fuck up on this hold right here. The only thing you can do is watch for like a 0.3 of a second. You're just like, yep, I'm witnessing my icon just fly right into the spike. Because you cannot recorrect yourself because of this fuck-ass black orb. So you mess up this click right here, and you just have to watch your icon as it just swerves into either the saw blade or the spike, and you're just like, ugh. Why do I have to look at this? There were times where I just like, I saw myself hold into it and just mess up, and I was like, I should just reset the attempt right now, because I do not want to witness myself slowly, in slow motion, fly into the spike. Terrible. Ugh. I died to it a few times. It's not a thing that I died to a ton. But every time I did die to it, it was just the worst feeling ever. Because of the click and hold that you die to the end of the hold on. And it's just annoying, right? Then we have this blue orb. This blue orb is fine. I don't really have anything to say about this blue orb. This blue orb feels kind of nothing. And then this stray fly click as well is just kind of like a nothing burger. It's just a recorrection. Just a very classic straight fly, you know. This UFO click combo actually is, yeah, what is it? What do I think here? Oh, we got a blue river. Holy. Hi, Babak. What's up? I don't really know. I kind of don't like this pink orb because this pink orb is evil. Because if you hit it too early, you can hit the top spike. But if you hit it too late, you can hit the corner of this, the slope or the block, and then you just die to this spike. I'm gonna give this one a D tier. This yellow orb is also just absolutely nothing. It does 0. It is a completely valueless input. It's just a click. Like, this could be in an easy demon, it would be the exact same thing. Hi, Luca. How are you doing? Man, I'm really realizing that the beginning of the break is just actually kind of bad. I'm not a big fan of it. I can't lie. Because you have this now. Right? And when you get to this click is just another one of those. It's fine. I suppose it's a B tier. Doesn't really do anything. This blue orb I always find kind of weird because you have to click it much earlier than you think. The same goes for the next click as well. These two are like, you gotta hit it so much earlier than you'd think. But they're kind of just like nothing clicks. They're very easy, but they're easy to mess up because they just like visually, they don't make sense. Does that make sense? Like, it doesn't look like you have to click them early, but you have to click them early. But they're so easy that if you just kind of like forget that you have to click them early, you die and you're just like, wow, I'm the dumbest person of all time. And you just kind of beat yourself up over it. So I'm going to give them D tier. This yellow orb, though, is pretty nice. I think the end of Poke Chat kind of saves it a little bit. I'm going to give this on B tier. And the same goes for, like, the next few clicks. Oh, yeah, I forgot I'm weird. I do 2 clicks here. I do, like, another click here. This one's not as, impactful. But then you have these 2 portal clicks, and I think those are, like, a good B tier. And then we have Transition Hell now. You can barely see what's happening. Oh, no. And we have this pink orb. Let's see. This pink orb I kind of like, actually. I like, this sequence is very good. I died here a few times because it's just a blind sequence, right? But this blind sequence is good. I'm going to give this pink orb a good B tier. And then I kind of don't fuck with his first ship click, right? But that's just because of the weird recorrection. You don't see anything. You just kind of like have to feel it out, figure out how he plays for yourself. But then you get into this click, and these 2 clicks are great, where you do this like nice swoop up, but not too much of a swoop, because if you hold it too long, you're gonna hit the saw blade. So you just kind of like want to do like a nice swoop in between these 2 spikes, release it, and then coast along to the green orb. And that's just a satisfying sequence, man. I'm gonna go as far as to say that I want to give this green orb S tier. Because you have this like beautiful swoop, and then you time this green orb, hard send it into the cube portal, and then you fall into this regular jump, and it's just very nice. That whole like the climax of that sequence is very nice. You have this like kind of blind section where you just have to like trust in your own ship abilities, ending off with a very, very satisfying green orb click. I really like it. Yeah, I think I'm gonna do that. The clicker right afterwards is kind of like a nothing burger again, where it's just kind of like you just jump. There is no timing here. You just kind of land on the block and jump immediately. And then you have a weird little UFO here where you do like one click immediately to line up, and then you do two really fast ones in between these spikes. And the in between these spikes, this is a tight ass timing. I got that in A3, that's rough. That's the ball, right? Yeah, when you get to... When you do this first UFO click, I think is just kind of, again, it's just nothing. There's no timing to it. You just kind of like do the thing that you're always meant to do, and then you pass it. But I really like these next two ones. These next two ones I'm going to give a B tier, I think. Because they're just like, it's a very tight gap. That's just very satisfying to pull off, right? It's a hard timing. The UFO is so out of place. I don't agree. I do not agree. This click right here is, again, just another, it doesn't really matter. You just kind of like, you just click it. There's no timing to be had. But then we have the super stupid, dumb, idiot, blind pink orb of doom. This timing is so fucking hard, man. Because this is a blind timing, right? You can only really see it in this one right here. But this timing is completely blind. This pink orb right here. But if you look at the next frame where you go into the ship part, you can't click it early because then you hit the saw blade. You can't click it late because, well, obviously you're gonna hit the fucking spikes. But you also can't click it like, you have to find like a perfect way to enter this ship portal very in the middle because you're flung into like a really tight strafe fly section with very little chance to recorrect your momentum. So this pink orb is, it gets very consistent. It's not like a bad, or it's not like a hard click by any means, but it's just one of those clicks that I've always found to be like incredibly uncomfortable. Every time I would get there, I would just kind of like clench up a little bit because I knew I felt confident with the strafe fly afterwards. I just never felt fully confident with this click in itself. It's very similar to this click and this click, where it's just kind of like the discomfort of actually doing the click itself always felt kind of rough. And then we have the strafe fly. The two clicks of the strafe fly, they are kind of bad because they just kind of like, again, because of the pink orb before it, the momentum is kind of just like whatever. It's just kind of like a very hard test of knowledge of momentum and strafe fly, because it's not actually straight. It's like slightly tilted, which makes it very weird to play. I'm not really a big fan of it. And then the yellow orb. The yellow orb, the yellow orb, the yellow orb. No, this is the yellow orb. I'm fucking stupid. Nah, I'm keeping it in D tier. I'm keeping it in D tier, I think. Yeah. That makes sense for me. I've heard Luna. I have heard. This orb as well, I'm just gonna give it a D tier. There's just something about this. Like, River, for me, I always felt very uncomfortable doing. I don't really have any reason for it. I don't know. River's part, in retrospect, I'm just not a big fan of. The break just kind of has a lot of awkward inputs that just kind of, like, challenge your nerve control, now that I think about it. Like, a lot of the clicks in the break is just, are your nerves good enough to where you can handle some awkward... This first wave click as well, just awkward. You can't really see it very well. And then this one I like this click. Oh, I didn't fucking place it. There, that's where it was gonna go. I don't like this click. This like micro thing is awful. You have to like tap it so you go up, but you also change speed like in the middle of the click. You don't click as you hit the portal. You click, then hit the portal, then release. And it's just, I don't know. Whoever cooked up that click, yikes, bro. Yikes, bro. This click is just hard. I like this one. I'm fairly neutral on. This wave is just in general really, really tough though. But I never really had like a deep connection to this click just because of the fact that the click before it was so bad. But the last 3 clicks, or sorry, the last like 2 clicks, because you release here and then you go 1, 2. These 2 clicks are really nice. I always really like these ones. I think these ones are like solid B tier clicks probably, because you just pass like a super duper difficult wave part, and then you just have like 2 smaller recorrectional clicks to get into this ship part. And there's a lot of invisible platforms in this ship part, so you can like kind of land on stuff. But then we get to Alkali. Alkali. Okay, this ship part is awesome. This is one of my favorite ship parts just in general ever, because I think it's super satisfying to do. This first click is really solid, because you kind of like do the click itself, or after you exit out of the portal, you just kind of like have a little bump, and then there's a long ass invisible platform that you can't really see. You land on it, and then you go boop, whoop, whoop. And you just have like a little bounce fest to go into the diagonal, because this ship part is fucking tight, bro. I think I'm just gonna B tier like these first few clicks, except for this one. This one I'm not a fan of, because it's so like you just have to be so meticulous with the amount you hold here, because the gap itself is really tight, but then you also have this like protrusion of saw blade that goes down slightly into it. So you have to like go up into the diagonal, dip down to avoid the saw blade, and then start going diagonally down. It's kind of like the M shape of the wave, but as a ship. And I don't know how the fuck that works. It just kind of does. And it's kind of ridiculous if you think about it. And then you have this like micro adjustment. This micro adjustment is very satisfying. I really like this micro adjustment. I don't know why. This micro adjustment is kind of fire, because you micro adjust going down here, so you fall down in between here. Because if you hold it too long, obviously you're going to hit the saw blade. But if you hold it even longer, you're going to hit the top here. But if you don't click it enough, you could potentially hit the saw blade at the very bottom here. This micro adjustment is just very nice. It's so crisp. Super good. Super good. Like, this entire, like, downwards sequence is just elite. And the same kind of goes here, honestly. This, like, swoop is great. I died here a lot. I'm gonna be real. I died to this, like, a fair amount. I don't remember exactly how many times I got 64. But this little swoop here is very hard. But it's really, really good. I really like it. It's fun. I don't know what it is about it, though. And I'm just gonna put this high up, man. I can't lie. Another A tier, I think. This one I'm not as big of a fan of. But that's just because of the fact that this is a really fucking hard gap. This gap is just absolutely ridiculous. I really like the micro adjustments and the swoop down, but the actual, like, gap itself just always just felt much harder than it needed to be. I like it, but it's also like one of those things where it's just like slightly uncomfortable, but I like it, so I'm gonna even it out to C tier, I think. But then we have peak. Oh my god, this green orb. This green orb, oh my god, I'm just realizing now this entire end sequence of Alkali is just so fucking clean, bro. This green orb is going to be a S tier for me. Yeah, this green orb is an S tier. You have this, like, incredibly tight swoop that requires just absolute perfection of movement and momentum control. And then you hit the yellow portal and green orb, and you just tap it, so you fly in between the structure and the saw blades to perfectly land into this gap. Oh my goodness. God, dude, it's so fucking good. Like, the fact that you do this green orb, and then you do not click anything to go in between these structures and land in this one block gap in a single input is actually fucking unreal. No, only clicks. This is not unemployment, because this is my job, so you're wrong. Anyway, I've said this twice now. But yeah, no, this click is just absolute fucking perfection. I love it. Incredible. Wait. Did I miss a click here? Did I accidentally drag a click up? I feel like I did. No, I just swapped places. My bad. This correction is very nice. It's another very satisfying click. I'm going to B-tier it. It's just that this is a correctional setup click that leads into this one where you fall in between the structure and the saw blade and swoop up, and it's just incredible. This is just another absolute fucking banger of a click. I can't lie. Yeah, I'm just going to put this one in S tier as well. There's just so much control on display exiting out of Alkali. That is just so satisfying to do. Yes, Bloxy Man, I am. You just gotta keep going, Joven. That's all you can really do. This yellow orb would be an S tier if it wasn't for the fact that you hold into the block here, and then you keep holding for a little bit as you go off the block, release it, and then do the yellow orb click, right? If it was less uncomfortable to do like the click, hold, release, and click like immediately, it would probably be an S tier. I'm going to keep it in A though, because this is just another really good click. Because you hold the entire way up here until you start going into this. And I don't know how many of you guys have like properly taken a look at how fucking tight this end gap is for Alkali. But this end gap is kind of unreal if you think about it. Look at how unbelievably tight this like gap is. There's a saw blade here. There's a saw blade here. There are ground spikes on the slopes. This is a tough ass fucking gap, dude. But man, I really like this gap. Hi, Stud. What's up? I think this is going to be another A tier for me. Yeah. I think it's another A tier. But this final click, you have this like nice hold into it. You equalize yourself, you level yourself, bump up to go above the saw blade, and then do a micro adjustment to fall perfectly into another block gap. I know I'm glazing the absolute ever-loving hell out of Alkali's part, but green orb to the end of Alkali is an absolutely generational part. Genuinely generational, man. I don't know what Alkali was cooking up here, but it is some actual fucking peak, dude. Banger. Absolute banger part. This shit part is so satisfying, dude. This blue orb is kind of nothing. Ooh, actually, no, I'm going to put it in B tier. Because this is where you enter the end of the level, right? Once you pass Alkali, you enter what is the end of the level. So this blue orb is, even though it's very easy and it's kind of like a nothing click, it feels very satisfying to do, right? So I think I'm going to slot it up here in B tier. This click right here is kind of just whatever. You're just kind of locking in, thinking about it. You click here and you just hold for a little bit, right? And we just went through the most one of the most generational parts of our time. Alkali's part in Deimos, the 60s. Unreal. Absolute fucking cinema. So good. What could possibly go wrong from here? This click fucking blows. This click is some ass, dude. I have actual beef with this click. Because it's not hard. That's a lie. It is really hard. You have to like almost fall off the block here and jump super late. Because this spike is so extended to the side. There's like, this is like a super extended triple spike with no visual other than, hey, almost fall off the block, then jump. And it's dumb. I don't like it. In the same vein as this click, and this click, and this click, and this click is just really awkward, very uncomfortable. Not a fan of it. I just didn't die to it enough to justify it being an F tier. It probably would have been an F tier if I didn't. This recorrectional click, uncomfortable. And then we have the super duper giga swoop of doom. If it wasn't for this exact swoop at 69-70% on Deimos, I would be under 100% conviction that every single swoop that exists in ships is the most blessed thing of all time. If it wasn't obvious by the fact that I've put every single like proper swoop in this level so far in a high tier, like the lowest has been at B tier, this swoop right here is genuinely my fucking nightmare. %70 times 13! I died to this swoop 13 times, bro. Oh my goodness, this click is some ass cheek. It probably would have been a great click if it wasn't for the fact that you have to do a recorrectional click. The thing that makes this click so bad is the fact that when you enter the ship portal, you do a correction and then you do the hold. If you just did like a hold similar to how it is in Lyson with this part, it probably would have been absolutely fantastic. The fact that you have to do like a small correction before the hold makes it so inconsistent, because you either go too low and you hit the saw blade, the first one, you go too late and hit this saw blade, or you could just do like the regular swoop thing and just go up into the roof, right? The recorrection adds such a massive fucking layer of fuck you. I don't like it. I don't like it. This click. This click is my demon. This is a bottom 5 clicks in the entire level. Not a fan at all. This click is some booty cheeks. Thankfully, the click afterwards is very satisfying. I do like this one. But that's just because of the fact that you passed the swoop and you're like, oh my goodness, yes, I passed the swoop. And then you start crying a little bit because you're so happy that you passed the terrible swoop. So this click is kind of nice. And then you have the 2 correctional clicks to get into the stray flight. The hybrid stray flight I found surprisingly hard. I don't know why. This was very consistent though. This is one of those things where you use like the background decoration as like visual indication to do this like very consistently. So I found this to be like relatively satisfying. I'm gonna put it in B, I think, because like, yeah, it's nice. But then we have 5 million years of gameplay right here. This first straight fly is I'm just gonna put it in C tier, because I don't think this first stray fly is particularly interesting or good in any way, shape, or form, except for the blind click. The dark click where you can't see anything, I'm putting that in E tier, because it's blind. You legitimately cannot see anything, right? Like, what the fuck is there to do? And then this click goes C tier again, and then this click right here I'm gonna put in B tier actually, because you have to have this like perfect alignment to stray fly, fall down, and then correct yourself into this, where you kind of like have a tiny little swoop down. And this swoop down is very satisfying. I really do like it. You have like this sequence of swooping here, and the swoops are really nice. I'm gonna put the swoops in B, and then I'm gonna put the other parts in C, because, well, they're just regular stray fly, right? But the swoops themselves are very, very nice. And then you have to like dip down a little bit. There's like a tiny mini swoop here where you like dip down a little bit and hold up into the UFO, so you have enough momentum to where you go down so you can get this gap. Because the thing about this UFO click, right, is that if you don't have enough momentum where your UFO kind of stutters, it makes the click absolutely fucking impossible. Like, straight up, you cannot pass it. You need momentum into this UFO portal, otherwise it is straight up impossible. You cannot pass it if you do not have any form of momentum in this UFO. So this like tiny mini swoop, I actually really like. But there's just so much nuance into this UFO click that I'm just gonna put it in D tier, because it is slightly uncomfortable in a lot of ways. And then the UFO sequence right here, I will put into... I'm going to put it in B tier, actually. Because you kind of brace yourself the entire way through this UFO to be like, yeah, I'm getting into the second drop now. Fuck yeah, that's super hype. And then you just do it. It's like, you just bonk your head 3 times here because there are spikes on the bottom row here. But it's a very nice build up into the second drop, which is super ultra giga mega impossible mode, right? It's very nice. I really like it. I think this UFO is very satisfying. It's not like amazing. It's not like A tier stuff, but it's very good. Anyway, Alkali was on a fucking legendary run, and so was Lieb. Lieb and Alkali, it popped off in the section of the level. And now we're on to the final tier list and the second drop to 100. I think I'm satisfied with this. I think I'm happy with this. There's a lot of A tiers. There's a lot of B tiers. Not as... I think the second half of the level is very good. There's not a lot of E and F and D tiers. It's just like a few handful of kind of awkward clicks. Right? Very solid. Now, we're starting strong with Antares. Because the very first click of Antares is a blind click. Let's go! I like blind clicks. It's very much timed to the music. But I can't lie. I would be so lying if I didn't say that I found this click super dumb to begin with. I never died to this from 0. There was not a single moment in time where I ever died to this black orb. But when I was learning this level, I found it so awkward just because of the fact that it's kind of goofy and stupid and dumb and idiot. Because why the fuck is there a random black... Why is there a random black orb blind timing at 73% on a top 20? I don't know. Like, you can make the hardest timing of all time, but God fucking forbid you make a semi-free blind timing. That shit's unreasonable, bro. I'm gonna E-tier it. And only because of the fact that it's, like, slightly butt-clenchy. Did Aeon take his meds? Yup. Yup. This blue orb is good. I like this blue orb. I like this whole ball sequence. I can't lie. This entire sequence of ball timings is pretty nice. But then you have this really mega awesome pink orb. I think this pink orb is great. This pink orb is very satisfying, actually. I'm gonna put this in S tier, actually. There's something about this pink orb that I find absolutely fantastic. I'm gonna put this in A tier as well, because you have this, you go in between the 2 spikes to go down into the pink orb. Very, very nice. And the pink orb is just absolutely elite. Really good. Then we get into the wave. The 74 wave. The second drop wave. This wave is unhinged, bro. The first click I find kind of butt clenchy. I'm not particularly a fan of. And the second click is also just kind of... I'm not a big fan of it. I can't lie. Oh, what? Oh, I'm fucking stupid. I'm a dumb idiot. Hold up. Hold up. I'm professional, I promise. This second click is really fucking weird. And the reason why I say this is because you can't see it in the screenshot, but if you look at the second screenshot here for the next click, right? If you look at the second click, you see this like structure here? Because this was made before 2.1, and there were no invisible objects without hitboxes, Doggy tried to invert the background block here. The like tiny one. That's like supposed to be like a reflection almost. He inverted it so that it wouldn't have a hitbox in quotation marks. But what that does is that it gives it like a pixel worth of hitbox on the corner. And because of that, sometimes you could hit this hitbox, this corner, which makes it so that there's like a pixel perfect alignment where if you go down, I think in this screenshot right here, I'm probably like a frame or two away from just dying to the corner of this background object. And the only reason why is because in 2.1 there was no such thing as no touch, which makes this thing just really frustrating because you pass the spike, which is the only thing you should be able to die to, and you just die to this protrusion of nothing. So it's a negative scaling death, which made it very frustrating, which makes this gap much harder than it looks. And it's already a ridiculous gap because this is 3 times speed wave, right? So it's already absolutely unbelievably hard, made just harder because of the fact that this wanted to use a feature that just wasn't introduced to the game yet. Which makes this second click right here, I think, an F tier click. Because a lot of the time, I just wouldn't be sure. I would just click and hope that I would pass it. Right? There was no, like... I didn't feel like there was any skill involved with this input. I got good at it. I got very good at it. I got very consistent at it because I had, like, good muscle memory for it. But it was never a click that I looked forward to. It was always a very uncomfortable click. Thankfully, though, the next click is awesome. I fucking love the click into this yellow portal. This click is sublime. Darky, I know. Ooh, that's a good idea, Camelot. I should do a top 5, bottom 5. I really like this click. I think this click is absolutely fantastic. And I would say the same about the next click, but however, if you guys watch any of my streams, I died 11 times to this wave at 74%, and this click right here was like 95% of it. Because going up here and releasing is just unbelievably difficult. But I'm still going to give it an A tier. I think this click is super, super good. It's just very hard. Right? It's just a ridiculously tough timing. But it's very satisfying to pull off. Then we have the 3, or no, not the 3. The 2 final clicks. So after you pass this yellow portal, it's just like a 1, 2, 3. And the second one, I felt nothing. It was just kind of like a whatever click. But the last one, again, is just really fucking good. It's just one of those clicks that's just incredibly satisfying to pull off. This last, dude, I can't lie. The Antares wave is just unbelievably good. I don't know what it is about the Antares wave. I just really like the Antares wave. If you couldn't tell by the fact that I'm glazing the fuck out of it. The only one I don't like is this one, just because of the fact that it's just bad, unfortunate, negative scaling stuff, right? Ah, the string of orbs. Does anyone want to guess? Does anybody want to guess the rankings of the string of orb doom, despair, and awful? Okay, so let's go with the first one. Let's go with the first one. The yellow portal, yellow orb. I'm putting this in D tier. This one, I'm putting in F tier. This is a very fucking horrible casualty of 2.2 orb priority, where unreasonably often I would just die from hitting the red orb. I would fully 6-inch deep enter the yellow, or sorry, the blue portal to time the pink orb, and just magically through God knows what hit the red orb, probably within like a frame, and get launched into the fucking stratosphere and die. And it was so frustrating because it is so fast. It is basically in the middle of a transition. You can hardly see anything, and you just get railed by shitty fucking orb priority. It's just this one. The other ones they're not amazing, but they're not terrible either. This one, though, fucking blows. This one's a C tier. And then this one's a B tier because it's just, like, very satisfying that you're at the end of it. But this one, the second orb, oh my god, dude. Worst fucking thing ever. Hate it. Then we have this. The end of Antares, you have this like really, really stupidly tight jump, and then you have a blue orb that you essentially just buffer. This one's satisfying. I like that one. And then this one's satisfying. You pass Antares, you're going into the end game of the level. Because when you pass Antares and you get to Sipic's box, that's like, you're at the end of the level now. Lock in, bro. You got it. Hello, haha, yes. Hi, Mr. Chromium. What's up? So those are two satisfying ones. Then we have this ship. This ship part could have been the most legendary streak of incredible fucking inputs of all time. However, it just wasn't. And it's only because of this blue orb. Because if you hit this blue orb too early, you just get launched with all the momentum of a fucking supernova flinging something across the universe. Because if you hit this like slightly early, you just get nuked into this bottom spike, and it's very frustrating. But I'm gonna be so real, the first two timings here, absolute fucking incredible. This is an E tier, and then this one's an A tier. This ship could have been legendary. Absolutely legendary. But this one blue orb had to just be awful. And it's so sad because this ship part is so unbelievably satisfying. I love it. I absolutely love this part. But I had like, there were days where I would just continuously die to this blue orb, and it was so frustrating. And it was only because of the fact that my brain was like hardwired to click like 5 frames earlier than usual. I play on the Wooting 80HE, and I think it's better than the Zeo. Okay. Sipic's box is another part that I genuinely think is like an S tier part. Sipic's box has so many amazing clicks in it. So this is, we're in Glaze Central right now. I think we're gonna be in like Super Glaze Central. Now, this first hold is absolutely elite. You exit this dash orb right here, and go into this auto part, and when you hit the blue pad and go into this thing, you hold into this part, because if you hold and buffer the ship click, you don't buffer the yellow orb. So you can like move up to enter this strafe fly. Because what happens is if you don't buffer the click so you can go up here, you will either hit the yellow orb or you will just fall far enough down to where you'll just hit the side of the spike here. This hold is so awesome. It is genuinely unbelievably satisfying to pull off. The only thing I don't like about it is the second click. This is just another absolute banger of an input. And this one is not so good because it's just very awkward, right? But this initial hold into Sipic's box is generational. Absolutely generational. I just wish I didn't die to it like 4 times. Because I died to it multiple times and I don't really know why. I didn't die to this click. I died to the hold. Or I died to this one. Because it's awkward. Because if you cannot tell, this is a very tight gap. And you have to like perfectly maneuver your momentum here. And it's really, really difficult. This yellow orb is solid. It's good. It's not particularly anything special. It's just a yellow orb. You just kind of like tap it. And then the black orb is, again, just really fucking good, man. Oh my god, this part is so awesome. God, why is this part so good? I feel like I'm gonna give it like 1,000 S tiers. Because, again, it's just black orb ship holds are elite. I don't have to say anything more. They are just absolutely elite. They are so good. Yeah, fuck it. We're giving it another S tier. We have more S tiers than any other tier with Sipic's box and Antares. This part is just so good, man. This part is like super duper ultra giga satisfying. This pink orb is fine. I like it, but it's not like anything crazy. I'll give it a B tier. Yeah, I'll give it a C tier. I don't have much to say about it. And we have the 2 bonks. The 2 bonks, I think, will go in B tier. I like the bonks. They're satisfying, but they're just kind of nothing in the context of the rest of the party. The rest of the party is just way too good, I think. Because the bonks are really good. but they're also just like they would be so much better in like any other part. I just think Sipix Box is just incredibly good. In all honesty, there's just something about Sipix Box's part that's just awesome. I don't have the red orb. What do I think about the red orb? Kind of nothing, honestly. I don't think I'm going to C-tier it. Then we get to the only part of Sipix Box I don't like. Because I don't know, there's just something about invisible spikes that just makes it the hardest thing ever, because you can't see the spikes, which makes it much harder than it needs to be. Because as you can see here, there's 3 spikes here, but there's only 2 spikes here. And that's because there's invisible. Because actually there's 4 spikes, you just can't see them. You know? This click is fine. I could give this a C tier as well. And then these two, I'm gonna give E tiers. I don't like these 2 clicks. They're very awkward to me, and I don't like them. I did not enjoy these 2 blue orbs. I'm surprised I didn't die there more from 0, in all honesty, because realistically, I should have gotten absolutely railed by them, because I really struggled with them. I died here a ton in practice. It was just one of those things where I didn't die there in normal, which was fairly lucky, I can't lie. And then we have the wave, the Sipix Box wave. The first click, you have to wait a weirdly long amount of time. I think my muscle memory was just super late. But because of the spikes at the top here, on the left-hand side, you had to wait it out a little bit longer than you would think. I didn't particularly enjoy this first click, but this blue orb click, man, you know how I feel about blue orbs and waves, bro. Delicious. A tier. Clean. No, my tier lists are for 25% each. There's like 25% each of them. I have this one. You release here, and then you tap in between these 2 saw blades, and the click between the saw blades are very nice. I really like the saw blade gap. I think the saw blade gap is also fantastic. I'll give that an A tier as well. But then you have like this micro adjustment here, where you tap, so you go over this spike, but not close enough to go here. I find this one much more awkward. I'm gonna D tier this one, because I had a really bad habit of hitting the side of the wall here, because you have to do a very small adjustment. Like, the adjustment is mega tiny. This is actually just 1 click. These are 1 click each. This one I'm going to give a B tier. I think this wave click is very solid. But then we get into this one. This is just 1 click though. You go 1 here, and then you just hold into it. And then you buffer the yellow orb. So I'm going to rank these 2 as 1. I don't like this one. And the only reason why I don't like this one is, depending on where you transition here, if you transition super low, there's a bug that occasionally launches you into the side of the spike, and I do not know why. And in the last like 2 weeks of playing this level, that happened a lot in practice. Like an unhealthy amount in practice. I would always just enter this portal super low and get launched into the side of the spike here. And that affected my playing from 0, because I was like super conscious about it, and I was really worried about dying to it from 0. Fortunately, I never did, but it just made this click super unfun for me to play, because I was always worried that I was just going to get absolutely fucking bodied by it, which was very unfun to do. So I'm going to put that in E tier. And it was just because of a very unfavorable bug that just started happening towards the last few weeks of playing the level. Click between frames, click between saw blades, exactly. This little ball sequence is actually very nice. I really like this blue orb. The ball blue orb is very nice. I'm gonna put these 2 in B, and I'm gonna put the ball click or the blue orb in A tier, I think. This ball click is really, really nice. It's very satisfying. We have yet another Deimos certified straight fly with an awkward transition. This transition is terrible. I'm going to F tier that one immediately. I died here twice. Very unreasonable to do. Honestly, I think I'm just going to put this whole straight fly in F tier. I do not like this straight fly. It was just very awkward because you transition into it in such a way where it's just like you have a little bit of momentum. So you have to like correction control this entire straight fly and hope that you don't go too much down or too much up. And it's just, ugh. Bad straight fly. Not a fan. I'm also going to put this one in E tier, and that's just me being a hater. Because if you guys don't remember, when Zeronium started streaming this, before I announced that I was going to be playing this level, Hybrid pushed a hotfix update because before, this slope was a solid object. So what you could do was that you could just hold out of this transition and slope jump and just completely skip this blue orb. It was a skip that I had found, and I told Zeronium about it, and Zeronium used it as well. And I think Hybrid saw it, or someone told Hybrid about it, and Hybrid removed this slope. So I am a massive fucking hater of this click, simply because of the fact that I learned, and the first month I played this level, I learned to not use this blue orb because you could just hold into it and jump over the spike that way. And then Hybrid fixed it. And I was like, that's kind of stupid. It's a fucking, you make the level proper to begin with. And he was like, no. And that frustrated me. And then, to make things 50 fucking thousand times worse, this is where this became super annoying to me. I didn't particularly care that much. I was like, okay, that's unfortunate. I have to relearn the part. That's fair. Popoff played Deimos on an outdated copy that had not fixed this, and he used the skip in his completion 6 months after the level got updated. And you know what the demon list said? Yes, whatever, it's fine. Don't worry about it. It's okay. You can use the old copy. He used a skip that got patched, and he got accepted by the list. What the fuck? I spent a week relearning this part and get comfortable with it just for pop-up half a year later to be allowed to use the skip that they removed? That's fucked up, bro. That's fucked up. That is so unfair, dude. I'm not even on the list. I was just annoyed because I used the skip. I found the skip and I was like, I want to use the skip. And then Hybrid fixed it. And then the list is like, nah, it doesn't matter. You could just re-add the skip if you want to. Even though Hybrid deliberately patched out the skip to make sure people didn't use the skip. I think that's fucking goofy, bro. Anyway. Crash out over. This jump is whatever. I didn't really feel much about it. And same goes for this green orb. But this black orb I didn't like. I found it kind of awkward because it was really easy to hit it early. You know? Very, very easy to hit it early. Then you have this, the two blue orbs. You just kind of click really fast. I'm going to put them in D tier. I found them very awkward. I'm not a huge fan of them. I can't lie. They're just kind of, yeah, you know? Just kind of, yeah. Don't really have much more to say about them. This first wave click is so important because the setup that this wave click allows is the only reason whether or not you die or don't die to this wave. You have to do this first wave click super duper late so that you slot in between here, release in between the spikes, go up, and then do the same as you see here. Right? Like you have this like movement here, like these two movements, and they are fully reliant on how late you do the first click. Because if you see here, if I did this first click a little bit earlier, I would have just hit the spike. So by doing it late, you slot in between nicely, but the later you do it, the smaller this movement has to be, right? So it's like, you have to find like the perfect alignment for this first click. So this first click, I'm going to put D tier, But the second and third ones, I really like. I found them very satisfying and very awesome to pull off. It's just the first one is so alignment dependent, right? This green orb, I actually really like. I think this is going to be an A tier. I think this green orb is very satisfying. It's a buffer click. It's absolutely nothing. It's just a buffer. But it's a very nice buffer because you passed a really clutch wave part. And then you're like, yeah, okay, cool. I want to go further now. But then you have the 2 black orbs of doom and despair and ugh. Yeah, I'm gonna E-tier these 2. I don't like these 2 black orbs. They're so awkward, man. They're so unbelievably hard for no reason. This stray fly is pretty nice. I like this swoop. The first swoop in the stray fly is very nice. I'm gonna put that in A tier. Because you have this like super large amount of momentum from the slope launching you up after the black orb. Then you have to like whee, and then you stray fly through it. And I think that was very, very nice. I really enjoy playing that part. But then it's just regular stray fly for the rest of it, right? Which is just kind of like, it's regular stray fly. Let's be real here for a sec. It's nothing spectacular. What is funny though, however, actually I'm gonna bump it up to B tier because you can skip it. Because you remember how I completely crashed out over the fact that this slope used to be a thing and then they removed it? This structure is the exact opposite, where this slope never existed and neither does this one. So if you want to, you could just go above the spikes and fall into the portal that way. Which is a really funny skip. Which is completely valid to do, by the way. You just kind of like go above the spikes and you just kind of like, you just have to like fall into the UFO portal and do the UFO portal the normal way afterwards. Which is really funny. So I'm going to bump it up to B tier for that alone. I didn't do it myself, but it was really funny. This UFO section. Ooh. How do I feel about this UFO sequence? The first click is nice. I think the first click is going to get a B tier. Because the first click is very, very solid. The second one, not so much, is a D tier for me. Because of the fact that it's surprisingly tight. And then the red orb, I will give a B tier because, well, it's a satisfying click and it flows well. But then the green orb, I'm probably going to give it E tier because, well, it's really fucking awkward. It's super easy to hit it too early. It's super easy to hit it too late. And it's just another click that's just oddly specific. And I don't like it. This UFO sequence is just odd, bro. It's either a banger click or a shit click. There's no in between. There's just 2 bangers, two stinkers. That's what it is. Nice water aspector. Yes, MLX. Oh boy! Chat, are we ready for Parallax? Oh my goodness gracious. Parallax, the hardest thing ever fucking created. I cannot lie. The pink orb. The entrance to the part of doom, despair, and death, and all things bad, honestly. Hum, hum, hum. What are we thinking about this one? Honestly, this pink orb is pretty sick. I think this pink orb is nice. You have this, like, slow moment of going up again to the actual orb itself, and then hitting the orb and going into, well, like, one of the most intense parts of the entire level. Very, very nice. However, the part is very swiftly just a big old fuck you, because this green orb, oh my goodness gracious, this green orb is an absolute fucking monster. I genuinely do not know for a second how I managed to never die to this green orb. No, did I die to the green orb? Wait, I forget. I did. No, I lied. I did die to the green orb. What I didn't die to is the pink orb afterwards. This green orb is really hard, though. The solid is very not representative of how tight this gap is. This gap is ridiculous. I'm going to give it an E tier. And then the pink orb of awful. Anyone who has played Deimos knows how unbelievably stupid this one singular pink orb is. Because the green orb before it is very... You have momentum into this swing, right? That throws you into the pink orb. So the pink orb's timing is kind of dependent on the click before it, but the click before it is also dependent on the click before that again. So this is like a 3-train combo of just really fucking hard. And then the actual timing itself is ridiculous because you have a less than 1 gap block here that you have to slot yourself into at what? I think it's 4 times speed. Which is absolutely fucking ridiculous if you think about it, right? It is just genuinely stupid. It is so hard for no reason whatsoever. I'm gonna give it an F tier. This click is so fucking hard, man. But I am the only person on the planet so far, and I think I will forever stay the only person to do this, who does the Skell mini wave spam in 3 clicks instead of 4. But I love this wave. This wave is so unreal satisfying. I absolutely adore it. I'm gonna be so for real. I was gonna put it S tier, but I think I'm just gonna put this whole way. I think I'm gonna put the first 2 clicks into A and then the last click into S, because the last click is super satisfying. Because then you get into this where you do like a recorrectional click into this pad before he just slams you up. And this sequence as well is just absolutely fucking sublime. I'm gonna give that one an A as well. And then these 2 next clicks, the click up between these spikes and then the ship hold here. Yeah, no, this is just one of the best sequences in the entire level, I think. I absolutely fucking love this part of the level. It's so satisfying, man. It just feels so good to pull through. Like, you pass this, do the recorrectional click, do the click up in between the spikes, hold it, fall down into the portal, and then 4 times speed ship hold. Yeah, no, it's so good. This click right here, this is a contender for a top 5 in the entire level, just straight up. Straight up, this might as well just be one of the best clicks in the entire level. It is so good. Then the robot is a little bit less so, I can't lie. This green orb, I feel absolutely nothing towards. I think that's just a C tier, because it doesn't really do anything. It's just a fairly easy click. Like, you can't click it too early, you can't click it too late, but if you just, like, click it in the middle, you're probably fine. Right? It's just okay. This first robot jump is kind of same. You just kind of don't think about it. But then you have this one where you jump and hold into this yellow portal, but then you have to like tap out of it. And because you have to like hold into the portal and then do another click is like a, right? Whereas like you have to release and click immediately, which is very awkward. I'm not a huge fan of it. That's like another stinker of a click, I think. I never died to it from 0. It's not particularly hard. It's just like slightly uncomfortable. Like if you are nervous and you're shaking and your hand is like slightly uncomfortable because you've been playing through like almost 3 minutes worth of level at this point, this click might just be very awkward for you and really, really bad. And then we have the 88 wave of death. It is very awkward. Yeah, I don't like this that robot click. This first wave click is hard. Because there's a spike up top here. There's a spike on the bottom here. So it is kind of dependent on how much you micro this click right here. How late you can delay this click. Because the later you delay this click, the easier it is to spit or slot through here. This gap. But then you also have to worry about the spikes here and the moving object and the moving structure. I just don't think this first wave click is very good. Yeah, I think it's going to be an F tier. The more I look at it and the more nuance I realize there is to this wave click, it's just not a good click. I do like the W click here, though. The W click is satisfying. It's very nice. But I think that's just a byproduct of the fact that the first click itself is just really ass. The first click is just really, really ass. So these two kind of just like, by default, become better. If that makes sense. Nice, Super Gamer. I'm very happy to hear that. This is not a click. This is a hold, dragon. There is no click here. You hold into the portal here and just jump out of it. You don't click until these two. These two clicks are nice, though. I really like these, like, 4 last clicks of Parallax. Mostly because of the fact that they are very easy. Like, these 2 clicks right here have the largest hitbox of all time. I'm pretty sure if you, like, fall into the... If you're, like, basically about to touch the saw blade here, you can still hit the yellow orb. The yellow orb is fucking massive, so you're never going to miss the yellow orb. The only thing you have to worry about is not reaching the blue orb. And the same goes for the blue orb. You can click it, like, stupidly late and be perfectly fine. So these 2 are, like, essentially free inputs, which is very nice, because you just passed, like, a super hard butt clench. And the same with this ball. This ball is just 2 buffer clicks. But they have that satisfaction because you just passed something stupidly hard and you're about to get into the end of the level, right? So I think the fact that they made these last 4 clicks, like, super easy is very nice. Because you get the satisfaction of having finally passed, like, the final gauntlet of the level. And you're going to be thrown into the very end. Because the very end of the level is not particularly hard. It's just all clutch stuff, right? So this first blue orb click, this is where your brain kind of, like, activates gamer time, I think. Like, you enter gamer time here. I like this click. I can't lie. I think I'm going to put this in A tier. It's a very easy click. You just kind of, like, click and hold. But that click and hold is really nice. And I think the same can be said for these 2. I think these 2 are good clicks. They just kind of, like... Because the ending is as easy as it is, you just kind of, like, completely zone out. You're just so in the zone to the point where you're not in the zone anymore. Have you guys ever been so locked in and zoned in on a thing that you kind of forget you exist? That's what these clicks are to me. Where you're so dialed in, you don't even know you're real anymore. You're like, you're not in the same plane of existence as yourself. Right? That's what these 2 clicks are for me. Where they're so nothing burger that they become everything. However, this click right here kind of blows ass. Because you want to hit this black orb as early as possible, right? Because of funny slopes 2.2 stuff, you want to hit this black orb as early as possible so that you get the launch you want so that you can hit this dash orb, right? So you want to hit the black orb mega early. But as a result of that, you do, like, 2 really fast clicks. What would happen occasionally? I'm so fucking thankful that never happened from Zero. Sometimes I would pull out the most legendary death of all time, and I would click in between these 2 blocks, because you fall from one block to the other, jump from the ladder one, and then hit the black orb. I would click in between the 2 blocks, release as I landed on it, and click again as I fell off the second block, and just die from stupid. That happened a few times in runs, and it was the dumbest shit ever. And it was really frustrating. So I'm gonna put that in E because that happens so much and so frequently in runs. When I got here from Zero, I was so locked in and so focused on the fact that I cannot die to that from Zero that I would just, like, shit myself a little bit. And that would also make this black orb kind of awkward as a result, because I was so just like, please don't mess up. I don't want to die here. I'm begging you, get to the duel. I think it happened twice from 26, Luna. It was really bad. But yeah, I was not particularly a fan of those 2 clicks. This dash orb is nice, though. This dash orb is really, really cool. You have to hit it, like, slightly late. So it is a timing. It is a very forgiving timing. But it is a timing nonetheless. But I want to give it a B tier at least. Because I do like it. No, actually, I'm going to give it an A tier. It's a satisfying input. Because you do, like, all these, like, fast clicks, like, bam, 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 you know? And you get to this dash room, it's like, a bam! And it's just very nice. It's very satisfying. I really like it. I think I'm going to give that. And then we get into the sequence of all time, the ba 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 bam, you know, the end sequence. This is essentially these two clicks. They aren't a part of the duel, but they are a part of the duel, because this green orb into black orb is what sets up the duel and all of the duel gameplay and how it flows in. Because if you fuck up this green orb black orb combo right here, you're just gonna get thrown off at the very beginning of this duel, and you're just not gonna be able to pass it. Because you're either going to be launched not far enough or too far on these first two clicks. So these two clicks are like super important. And as a result, they feel fantastic to pull off, because you kind of need to pull them off properly. Otherwise, you're just dead. Right? I like them quite a bit. I don't, however, like the first three clicks of the duel. I think the first three clicks are kind of awkward. I'm gonna put them in D tier, because I felt like they always kind of just like, they didn't make sense. I don't think there was at any point in time a day that went by where I felt like I had the perfect rhythm for these first three clicks. If I passed the first three clicks, my rhythm was on point. I was able to pass through the duel, no problem. But there were days where I just could not do these first three clicks, and I would always mess up as a result of it. Either because I was going too fast or I was going too slow, and it was just felt really weird. Right? And it just didn't like it. Which was awful to play, I can't lie. But then you had like this black orb, for instance. This black orb felt much better to play. Once I got to this black orb, that's when I was like, okay, yeah, I can kind of lock in. I felt very indifferent about the click itself. But once you got to this black orb, that's when I was like, okay, I have a chance. Because you hit the black orb, go into this yellow orb, launch yourself into the green orb. And when you get to that, that's where you're like, you enter the second half of the duel. So that one I'm going to put into C tier. And then the green orb, I think I'm going to put into B tier. Because then when you get to the green orb, you go up into this yellow portal. And then you do like two very small clicks to strafe fly. But they're like, you have to click them late. Because what you do here is you start the strafe fly to hit this blue orb. And then the second part of the strafe fly is to hit this yellow orb. So you have to be like a bam, like a very quick one. That leads into you falling into the low end of this yellow orb. Because when you hit the low end of the yellow orb, you can go up, go in between the spikes here, while also hitting the blue orb with the cube, without hitting the blue orb as the ship, because that's the killer, right? So this entire sequence felt really good to play. I think I'm going to put both of these up into B tier. And then this yellow orb, as satisfying as it is to actually pull off, it was one of those clicks that just always felt absolutely fucking awful at the same time. Because it's like, oh, you never really knew if you were going to die or not. Because you're just so dialed into the actual muscle memory of it that if you just kind of like, you could zone out and do better than if you were actually trying to pass this click, if that makes sense. Right? I think I'm going to put this yellow orb in D tier. But then you get into the final here. This blue orb is also D. But then you have the red orb into green orb. Or, sorry, red orb into black orb combo. And this red orb into black orb combo is absolutely fucking elite. Because you hit this red orb like really late. So that you buffer into the green orb. Because, okay, so this makes zero fucking sense, right? You can see how far apart this red orb and green orb is, right? This red orb and green orb, they are fucking universes apart. They are straight up a block and a half in between each other. They are the same input. They are the same click. So you want to hit this red orb super late because there's a spike above you. So you want to hit it like super late so you can go up into the black orb. And as you hit the red orb, it buffers the green orb with the cube, and then you hit the black orb. And it's just the most insane thing of all time, and it's just awesome. This is an unnecessary click to have, anyway. And then the pink orb, you just kind of like tap it late. It's like a recorrectional down into the ship. And I think I'm going to put the Stray Fly here at the end into A tier. Just like the whole thing. Because this last Stray Fly is really good. It's very satisfying. I really like it. It's a great Stray Fly. It just feels good to pull off. You need like a slight downward angle recorrection. As the mini ship, you go down in like a small diagonal. And then as you turn into big ship, you enter into like this super straight, super tight final Stray Fly, and it's just really, really nice. And it plays really good. It feels fantastic to play. And then, I don't know, I feel like it's kind of a no duh shit. But the final click has to be S tier, right? Surely. Because you finished it up, right? It's so nice. Because it hits that crescendo of the song, and it's just like, doom. Congratulations, you completed one of the hardest mega collabs in Geometry Dash, and it's just like the greatest thing of all time, right? It's peak. Absolute peak. There were a lot of S tiers in the ending. Holy moly. The ending is too good. Ending is too good. That's the tier list. Or all 4 of them, I guess. All 4 of them. Okay, so let's pick the 5 best clicks in the level. In no particular order, top 5. I want to take this one. This ship click in Parallax is absolutely fucking incredible. I really like it. That ship hold is one of the top 5. This green orb in Alkali is one of them. And I also want to say this blue orb in Leave is one of them. So that's 2, 3. The mini wave recorrectional click in Smokes. No, actually, remove this one. We're not taking this one. We're taking the Alkali green orb click. And we're not taking the Leave click. Because I also want this one in Juho. The ship click in Juho. Absolutely spectacular click. So we have these 2 as the top ones here. And then the final one is the UFO double click in Iris. So the UFO double click in Iris. The ship click out of the Juho wave. The wave correctional click in Smokes. The Alkali green orb. And the Parallax ship hold are probably my 5 favorite clicks in the level. The Nurgle ship hold as well, but the Nurgle ship hold is one of those things where it's just like, it's awesome, but it's also just, I don't know, I just have such a strong affinity for these other clicks. Right? As for bottom 5 clicks, this ball click in Poly, the second last one in Poly, terrible. Don't like that one at all. Wait, hold up. I was gonna check here. Honestly, okay. I'm pulling out the UFO click in Loltad And we're doing both 41 and 47. I think these are just inevitable. And then the final terrible one, honestly, probably 49. Probably 49. So the latest quote-unquote terrible or worst click is just 49%. I don't find... These are bad clicks, don't get me wrong. But they're not like the worst clicks of the level. But I think that's just because I didn't get there enough. Right? Like when it comes to 49, 47, 41, 34, and 21, 22. I got there so frequently that it just kind of has to be the worst clicks. Because, yeah, 70% sucks. 55% sucks. But I don't feel like I got there enough times and died there enough times to where it, like, genuinely frustrated me. Right? Like, 55, I died to 55 a lot, right? But if we go here, right? 55 on return, I died 10 times. 49, I died to 32. I had 42 total deaths to 49, while having 15 total deaths to 55. That's a pretty massive discrepancy, right? And the same goes for, like, the orb chain. I died to the orb chain 6 times. And 70, I died to 13 times. It's like, I just don't think there's enough frustration there to, like, outclass, like, 49. Or, God forbid, 41 or 47, where I genuinely died to 200 plus times, right? But yeah. Okay. Cool. That's the tier list. Awesome. Thank you for hanging out. I appreciate it. I'm going to end stream, and I'm going to be back in, like, 30 minutes. I'm just going to go eat. So I'm going to go grab a bite of food, and then we're going to stream Jesse Pinkman in, like, 30 minutes on Twitch. I'm not going to be streaming it on YouTube. I want to just do one stream on YouTube. But I'm going to go grab a bite to eat, and then after that, we're going to do, like, a couple hours of Jesse. I'm not going to be playing too much, but just a little bit of time. Thank you for hanging out. I had a really fun time with this. This was a really fun idea. It was really dumb, but I had a good time with this. This was, like, a genuinely enjoyable thing to do. I feel like I'm finally at peace with Deimos. We never have to touch Deimos ever again. Deimos is done officially. No more ever. That was every single click of Deimos. And it was a good time. I thoroughly enjoyed myself. It was very, very solid. But yeah, we're gonna move over to Twitch a little bit later. Again, I'm gonna be back in like 30 minutes. I just gotta eat food. And yeah, thank you for hanging out. I really appreciate it. I had a ton of fun. So I'm gonna leave the stream up on YouTube. So for those of you who want to watch it later as like good background noise or whatever, have a good time with it. But yeah, I'll be back in 30 minutes. Have a good rest of your day on YouTube, and I'll see you later. Subscribe if you haven't already. Join Discord if you haven't already. And follow on Twitch if you want to continue on with the Jesse Pinkman grind in a little teeny tiny bit.